welcome everyone to our fantastic digital event. I'm Jana Matthews here with the Grace Company.
I'm Allegra Znoznik, also here with the Grace Company.
And we are joined from Quality Sewing and Vac by Reva. Welcome, Reva. We're so excited to have you with us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for doing this with us.
I think it's going to be a fantastic day. We've got a lot of people coming from all over the United States, which was so exciting to see. So if you are with us today, wherever you are, whether it's in the state of Utah, in the state of Washington, in the United States, outside of the United States, wherever it is, we would love to hear where you're coming and joining us with us. So we've got Mrs. K. She is coming from Kentucky. Welcome. We have Inez. She is from Renton, Washington. Welcome, Inez. We also have Kathy Ewing from Everett. Welcome. And we've got a Carol Moore. Good morning, Carol. Let's see. We've got Chris from North Dakota. Welcome, Chris. Let's see. We've got Jennifer from Nevada. So welcome, Jennifer. I'm going to check the website to see if we've got some other people. We've got someone coming in from Washington as well. Welcome. Let's see. We've got so many people coming in.
Yeah, I'm recognizing a lot of names there.
So. Oh, good.
Good.
So we've got Debbie coming in from Sumner, Washington. It's every time we have one of these events, I want to get a map out or go Google Map all these wonderful places and find out like how far away are you from me and where are you located? Let's see. We have Marianne from Ballard. Welcome. Deborah from Seattle, and Shelly from Kennewick. Libby's coming in from Washington. Sherry is here from Marysville. Welcome, everyone. Oh my gosh, so many fantastic people coming to join us. Continue to tell us where you're coming from. We want to know where you guys are. Oh, we've got Cynthia from Fairbanks, Alaska. How's the weather up there, Cynthia? How's the weather with everybody? Here we actually have some, we feel like Washington weather here in Utah. We've got some cold rain. For the last couple of days, it's been kind of fun. We feel like we've been prepared for our Washington event.
And I just washed my car yesterday too.
Well, there you go. That's what happens. That's why it rained. I think we've had your weather because we got some rain yesterday, but we hadn't even had any rain since July, and it was just like a tiny amount. So we've been really hot and dry, and later this week it's supposed to get back up into the 80s again. So for October, that's really unheard of. So.
Oh man. Oh, that's fantastic that you guys are just like, we're switched, right? Yes. Let's see, let's pull in some other people. We've got Tina from Aberdeen, Washington. Carolyn from Whidbey Island, welcome. Deanne from Arizona. We've got, again, Carolyn from Kingston, so great. Let's see, Dorothy from Shoreline. Sandy from Puyallup. We've just got so many people coming in. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have you here. So first, we're going to just talk about a little bit about what we're going to be doing today, because I know what's the schedule. We kind of looked at on the events. You can see the schedule that's happening. So we're going to do some wonderful, fantastic educational and different product demonstrations of all the different products we have at the Grace Company. The first one we're going to do is the fundamentals of free motion with our head educator, Carla Jerome. And she does a fantastic job of going through just exactly what do you need to get ready to start quilting. And this can be done on your domestic machine with frames or with a long or mid arm. So it's a fantastic one. Then we have a really fun fall banner done by an educator here, Janessa. And then we're gonna do some giveaways today. It's gonna be really fantastic. So stick around. If you haven't had a chance to pre-register, all the giveaways for the big prizes were from people who had pre-registered for the event. Let's pull those up right now if we can. We're going to be doing first, before we get going on the videos, we're going to be doing our 10-foot luminous light bar. Now, Reva, had you have a chance to see our luminous light bars?
Oh my goodness. Those are like a needed thing in the Northwest because you guys are a little bit, you're still north, but do you guys get dark at 3 o'clock? Because we get dark at 3 o'clock and it doesn't get light again until like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. It's like we only have this much light. Do you guys get that too?
We have a little bit, so it's like not quite as much as you guys, but we do have those days where like it's 6 o'clock, it's
like
it's
5
nighttime.
o'clock and you're like, it's dark already?
Oh,
Yeah,
see,
it's like
we
I have a whole project to do.
3:30 or 4 in the afternoon. That's
Yeah.
what it's like here. So we need those light bars.
Yeah, and so again, with any of these specials that we've got going on and the giveaways we do, if you don't win, it's okay. You still have a chance to get it by contacting Quality Sewing and Vacuum. They will be able to help you get any of the items that you've heard about on the show, any other Grace products, and they also have other fantastic products. So it's not just quilting items, any crafting projects, sewing. Quality is the best place to contact to get all of your special project needs, right? So we have their website up, www.qualitysewing.com, info@qualitysewing.com, and 1-800-687-5175. So we're going to do that giveaway. So our second giveaway of the day is going to be in our True Cut products. It's our True Cut Quilters Combo. And why don't you talk about this one, Allegra?
Ooh, yes, I love the Quilters Combo because if you are wanting to get into the True Cut system that we have, this is a great starter kit. It comes with that 6.5 by 24.5 inch ruler. It's a great size. It'll come with the 45 millimeter My Comfort cutter. It's ergonomical. It can be for left or right-handed users. And it'll come with True Grips, which I love True Grips. So it'll come with 15 small ones, 15 large ones. You get a total of 30. And then you have the spaces in between them, so you can use the little diamond shapes as well.
That's my favorite part, right? Like you've got 15, but it's like you get more than 15 in there. Yeah.
And the True Grips aren't just for your rulers. I use them for everything.
Yeah, anything you want to keep sturdy and not slide around. So we're going to do that giveaway. Then we're going to be doing some other Plinko. Now, while you're watching the videos, pay attention because Ariva and Allegra and I are going to come back and we're going to ask some questions. And so you have an opportunity. Now, whether you've pre-registered or not, this is your chance to win. So just watch those videos. We'll have these questions come up about the products or about the video. So we have some wonderful True Cut and Finesse thread. Now, our Finesse thread is our perfect, we call it our perfect size cone thread. So it's 1,500 yards and 50 weight. So we have some of that in our Plinko board that we've got here behind us so that you can win. And then we're gonna watch how to quilt on the Cutie. This is with Carligan and one of our account executives, Laurel, and they filmed this during COVID, so they're wearing masks, but they are mic'd up. So just don't worry, it's not currently any problem with them. Then we're gonna talk about the Sure Stitch Elite. That one's gonna be fantastic. We're also going to do a break for all of those who are kind of like, I couldn't miss any of the education and I needed a quick break. We're going to do some commercial breaks for you so you have a moment to take a break. Then we'll come back and do some more videos. We're going to do the second part of the fall banner. And then we're going to talk about our brand new 21X Elite machine, which has the new 7 inch horizontal screen on there that has the new customer interface on it. Now, Reba, you were just saying you had an opportunity to see it on the 19X Elite. How much fun was that interactive software?
No, that was really cool. It had things that I didn't expect because, we sell a lot of different long arms. So I kind of saw it and thought, oh, okay, it's another long arm. It's really pretty, by the way, the X Elite.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. And I thought, okay, that's fine. And then I started playing with it and it was so easy. I didn't even get a book out. It just kind of, you could figure it out just by looking at it. And it was like, oh, okay, that's really cool because it has, of course, you're probably going to tell, but it has this really cool thing where you can tell it where your area is. And when you get close, it gives you a warning so you know that you need to turn or finish and not run into the bars or out of the space. It's really cool.
That's one of my favorite things, yeah. And that same technology is on the Sure Stitch Elite, which we'll talk about as well, but that whole edge warning, because I know I'm that way as I'm quilting, as I get into the design and I need that warning before I hit the front or the back, and that's fantastic on that. And then of course at the end, we're gonna do our grand prize giveaway for someone. This is our grand prize Cutie bundle. It will be the Cutie frame, the bungee clamps, and the 8-pack of Finesse thread. So you'll have everything you need to get started, minus your machine. So you can put your domestic machine on there, you can put a long arm on there or mid arm. So you're all set to go, whatever you're needing to get settled. Now, If at any point through the whole event, so we're going all the way till 2 o'clock today, it's going to be fantastic. But if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. We will either answer them after the videos in the live segment, or we'll answer them at that moment while we're watching the chat during the video. So please ask any questions. If you have any questions about purchasing anything. Now, we have special pricing for this event. Now you might say, well, how fantastic could it be? So usually at the end of the year, Grace Company does a fantastic deal where you get to purchase a machine and you get a frame free. And so we are opening up that fantastic pricing for quality, just for quality, starting today, 2 days ahead of the month of October. So it's the 19 and the 21 X Elite machines. When you purchase a frame, you get, or a machine, you get the frame free. So with the 19, it's the Q-Zone frames, that's the Cutie, the Hoop, and the Q-Zone Queen. And with the 21X Elite, we're gonna open it up ahead of time for that Continuum frame.
Yes.
So you can contact Quality. They have all the specials and what the pricing is on there. We're also doing 20% off all TrueCut products. We're also doing some special pricing on the electric sharpener. It's only gonna be $48. And then on that quilters combo, if you don't win it, you can get it for $48 as well. So call, the best way to get this is to call or email Quality. So either info@qualitysewing.com or 800-687-5175. All their customer service people are there ready to take your order. So don't hesitate. Any of the items that you see, please contact them and we'll get them ordered for you right away. Now.
Hey, before you go any further,
yes.
Jess, can you tell people how they can register? Because some of our backside people or back end people didn't realize that they could register now still. So if you could do that, that would be great.
Sure, yeah. So let me see if I can add it on here. So it's the link that, let me get to that location. So it's events, we'll put it up here, events.graceframe.com/event/quality sewing and vacuum. So let me grab that really quick on the banner. I'll send it over to Allegra so she can.
Can you pop that in the chat maybe?
Yeah, we'll put that in the chat so people can still grab that link. There's still time to pre-register for that grand prize. So if you have the opportunity, and if you don't, again, this is a chance for you to purchase that. Again, the Cutie is at an amazing price. It's going to be at $589. So we have not had that price for a very long time. It's going to be so fantastic. Again, pre-pricing for Quality with this event ahead of the October pricing. So this pricing starts for everybody else on October 1st, but with Quality, we're starting it ahead of time. So again, contact Quality. Now, is there anything else we need to talk about before we get going?
I think we've covered everything.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, for the specials though, before we move into the video, with the 19X Elite and the 21X Elite and the free frame, if you have the 19 and you're purchasing the 19, but you really want the Continuum, you can pay an additional additional $789 and get that Continuum frame, which is a great deal. And then the Cutie flash sale that you just mentioned for the $589 will include a free motion starter kit while supplies last. So contact Quality, get your orders in, and they are ready to take your orders before October hits.
Yeah, and one thing too is if you already have a frame and you have your current machine on there and you're wanting to upgrade to that 19 or 21 and you think, well, I already have a frame. I had a 21R or I had a 19 and I'm just upgrading the machine. I don't need the whole frame. Instead of the frame, we're doing a free light bar. So don't worry, we're going to take care of you. You're going to have those fantastic free items as well. So yeah, contact Quality and they will be able to get you all that pricing and fantastic things that are happening. So without further ado, we're going to start on our fundamentals of free motion. Again, this is Carla Jerome. She's going to do all the different things we need to learn about free motion and how you get started. It's going to be a great, and remember, we're going to do Plinko after, so pay attention to the videos because we're going to do some fantastic prizes as well. So thanks to everybody for sticking with us.
Welcome. Today I get to talk to you about something that I really enjoyed as a quilter, and that's free motion quilting. And I've done a lot of research, and I've been able to learn free motion quilting really on my own. Yes, there's some great quilters out there, and they have a lot of good advice, but a lot of new beginners don't know where to start or why it's important to do certain steps as you're free motion quilting. And they just bypass it because it becomes a little difficult, and they think that they're not artistic enough to do their own thing with the free motion quilting and drawing out designs. And so I just want to help you become more confident so that you are taking tips and techniques that I'm teaching to be able to go and give you the confidence and do your free motion quilting. So, doing my research, I had to think back of where I started, and I started quite a while ago. And so I have gotten better with my free motion quilting, and a lot of it comes from experience, and the way that you're able to sew across your quilt. Now, think back of when you first started sewing, or first started writing, or first started walking. You take baby steps, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about today, is the baby steps leading up to it. Now, when you start quilting, a lot of quilters think they want to be this fabulous quilter right out of the bat, and you're not, okay? Because the machine's a little smooth, and it's easy to make little wobbles in your designs. And even today, all the professional quilters are not perfect quilters. So allow yourself the learning curve. Just say, you know what? I've got to learn this, and know that it can be learned. I mean, we all have to start somewhere in the quilting process. And so the first place I want you to start is practicing. And I want you to think about getting a doodle notebook. This notebook will help you come as a resource. It helps you practice drawing your designs, and that practicing as you're doodling is so important because it helps your memory retention as you come to the quilting frame. It allows you to remember which directions you need to move or how you want to draw the design. This doodling part of quilting is extremely important, and something that if you're not doing, it's so much fun. You know, if you're sitting in front of the TV or you're just sitting there talking on the phone, put your phone on speaker and start doodling and just practice your designs while you're talking, because then you're doing two things at once, and that even helps you even more because it helps you remember the direction that you're supposed to draw, but you're doing another exercise talking at the same time, so you're trying to focus on two different items, so it helps you to multitask. So those are great tips and tools. So if you have any free time, just sit down and doodle. No matter where you are, even if you're in the car just riding along, listening to the radio. If you're the passenger, don't do it while you're driving, okay? But if you're the passenger, just doodle away. And a lot of our phones have pens that we can doodle as well. So start a doodle notebook, and start with easy designs. When we first started our penmanship and writing, we started out with easy, simple little things. And with a lined notebook, it helps you work on your proportions as well. So I have my little doodle notebook that has the lined papers in it. And as I started doodling, some of the first easy designs are just little waves and loops. And just start using the alphabet, the cursive alphabet, not regular letters, but the cursive alphabet is a great resource for designs in quilting. So this is a small case L and a little E. And I've just did 2 lines to show how I did the L, but I did the single distance between the 2 lines as the E. And I just, mastered that. So, and then another one is like a U. So it's a curve and an up, down, up, down, up, down. And like I said, the proportions on the lines really help you make it nice and even all the way across. So just to show you, and then as you're quilting, you can just do L's all the way across. Then you can add L and then an E, and you can do the U's. You can make them a little smaller, but then you can start adding elements to it. So you can do a U with a circle underneath, and then you curve over the top, do a circle again, and then you move around and you do your circle again. Then you'll add a circle at the bottom of your U, and then at the top of the U coming across the top. So the valley and hills, let's call them valley and hills. So you'll add a circle on the valley and then another circle on the hill. And so you'll just move across. And then as you're working on your designs, what you'll do now is that we're just making the distance a little longer using my lines. So instead of just 1, I'm using 4 so I'm doing my little circle on the hill. And this will help you work with your meandering and learn how to stipple. So if you'll practice, and then practice changing the direction of how you quilt, that also helps your memory. And also change the position of the design on your quilt. So this is just upside down E's. And then I started doing upside down L's as well. So you can see that this would make a fun little element in a border or a sash sheet, doing the different directions. Now this is a capital L. It's just a nice loop coming back. And again, these lines help me keep my proportion of my design so that I have it proportionally correct. Now, it doesn't help with the distance, so if you're concerned about the distance in between, you could just measure going across like this and add little lines so that you can keep the distance correct and the circles correct. So there's lots of ways that you can practice your doodling. Now, this is a fun design as well. So this is just kind of a zigzag. It's so simple, but you wouldn't realize it. This is my start point right here. And I moved up at a diagonal to this line here. Okay, on my sheet of paper. So I went diagonal, then I went towards, if I was in front of it, it would have been the left, okay? So it's the right on me. So move to the left as you're sitting in front of it. And then you'll come back down to the diagonal and you'll move to the left again. And then you'll go back up and you'll just keep doing that all the way across. So you have this little fun design. That's a fun one to practice. And so challenge you to practice something new and a little different. Then as you're doodling, another fun thing in your doodle notebook to also help you learn how to fill in different shapes. So I'm just using simple squares for my shape, but you could use a hexagon or a triangle and try different things. So just draw them in your notebook and practice with little filler designs. So this isn't even complicated at all. It's just a design that I did in the valley and the hills. It's a little longer, but I just went across making them vertical, and then I came across and made them horizontal. So it just changes direction. And on a quilt, it's very pleasing to the eye to have the different directions because it draws your eyes different areas. So practice on that. Then notice that now I started in the corner with my valley and hills, and I went this direction. So now I probably leave these two blanks. So try different ways of quilting. You don't have to fill in every area, and sometimes that can become a little messy. And sometimes you need that little space that has nothing in it whatsoever, and that makes it more pleasing as you're looking at it. So sometimes when a quilt has too much on it, it's hard to notice and recognize all that beautiful quilting, and sometimes less is more. So just decide how you like to quilt and what you like. Doesn't matter what anybody else likes. If you like it, that's great. Okay, now the stippling. A lot of quilters think, wow, let me start with the stipple. Stippling is actually a little harder than you would think. So practice in your notebook and practice in little squares so you can get the puzzle movements down. And stippling is just curves like a puzzle piece and going in different directions to kind of make it look a little meandering across your page. So start in one corner. Don't lift your pencil, keep going. And you'll notice that where you get hung up in a corner, just make it a little smaller and then come out. All the puzzle pieces are not exactly the same little size. They have small ones and large ones. So it doesn't matter if you get caught in a little corner. Notice that I kind of did a little erasing. That some of them are a little smaller because I was getting closer to my corner right here. So I kind of got caught there, so I had to just make this a little smaller. So practice that, and you can even practice it with points or spirals. Now, this is a fun little spiral design. It teaches you the basic beginnings of a spiral, because spirals are not that easy to start with. So what you'll do is you'll come in and bring it to a point and then come back out. And I just kind of made it a little popcorn flower. And then you'll just come out and make it to a point. Just practice, practice, practice. And practice this all over your page. You know what? The more you do it, the better you'll become. So another simple design, I just wanted to show you about the spirals since we did the little popcorn, is this is a closed loop spiral. You can notice that as I come into it, I've got it really close to the same loop and I echoed around it. This is an open spiral because they're not touching. This is a closed and this is open because this one here, I closed it because each of the spirals are touching the next one. And this is open because they're not even touching each other. So it's going to cover more area more quickly as you're quilting. This is going to take a little bit more time because it's a little denser and closer together. So just look at the proportions and what you like and how you want to quilt. Okay, and a couple other little tools that I think are valuable for you. As I was working on processes and ideas, start again. I want to remind you, if you're not confident with free motion quilting, start simple. You can make a beautiful quilt with simple, easy designs. This quilt right here, I wanted to show you. It's open spirals, but it kind of gives you that movement. So as we were looking at it, it looks more like tree. And also we added names in this because it made it fun. It's like when kids were smaller, I put their names in things so that they would look for it and it keeps them engaged and excited about what we're quilting. So I added Charlie's name here. Okay. Now right here for the background, I did some stippling. And then for my flag, notice that I did the waves back and forth. And how much fun that is. Simple design. And then I did my stars. We all know how to draw stars. You just add stars and little loops to keep them going. And that's really it. Those are really, and then on the house here, we just kind of did some views. But nothing complicated. But look how much fun the quilt is. And just from those simple, easy designs, boy, you can create beautiful quilts. And that's how we started out. It was just something simple. This is a really old quilt that I did a long, long, long time ago. Now, The quilt on the back wall is a little more complicated because I had more experience as I was quilting. Notice that in the sashing, I just did the loops. Simple, easy, but it's eye-catching. And in the center, I did the little X with some, it's a little feather X, if you want to call it. It's not really a wreath, but the back of the quilt is just as fun as the front of the quilt. So, and then I kind of took the feather design, with the little circle that I used in the sashing, and the square, and added it to the border to keep it going. And the border was so easy to do. It's just a little paisley, a couple of them, and then a spiral. Nothing complicated, but I took some time and practiced before I started quilting. And I also positioned things off. My border, I sectioned it off to get my proportions correct. And your doodle notebook, as you're doodling and coming up with new ideas and new designs, is a great resource for you to look back on for your quilting. So the next thing I want you to do is get a piece of clear template plastic, okay? And you have a rougher side and a smoother side and a dry erase. And then this allows you to draw your designs on it, to see what designs you like. So I'm going to position this along my block here that I want to fill in. What I'm going to do is kind of section it off here. All right, that looks pretty good. So now I could start here in the corner, go like this. That kind of looks fun, a little different. And then you could just keep going. And then just keep going this way. So that's kind of fun and a little different. So you could do something like that. And then we could come down here to this smaller square right here. And then see what the loops look like. And you know what? Sometimes those mistakes are happy mistakes. See, I'm talking, doing what I'm telling you, and not. So just take this template plastic. It's a fun way to see what your design will look like and if it's what you want on your quilt. Then once you've done that, I would suggest drawing it on a piece of paper and then unthreading your needle. And then I'll just draw my design. And you're not sewing the paper to it or anything. You're just seeing what it looks like. And you can pin your paper to it. But just make sure that you have the movements down. It kind of looks cool on the paper too. There you go. That's kind of fun. So try that and pin it down and practice your tracing on the paper. There's a couple of different ways that you can use this, but you know, try these techniques and use them and practice your free motion quilting before you jump in and actually start quilting. It will help you become more confident in your abilities, and it'll allow you to remember how your designs work and which position you need to move your sewing machine to get to the next design. Really important. So let's thread our machine, and I'm just going to come down here and do my little loops right now. And you can see that I've just drawn on my fabric the design. Now, there are some really good markers out there that are water soluble that you can draw on your quilt, but I haven't found the best one yet. Once I do, I will let you know. But for right now, just use the chalk because I do know that it comes out. And don't use too dark of a chalk, just very lightly. Use a pencil as well. The simple little designs are the best way to start. I'm going all the way to the top. And just start moving across. And have fun while you're doing it. You know, learning can be a fun process. Because you could be excited about what you're learning and that it's new and different. I don't want you to be the type of quilter that feels like you have to stitch in the ditch all the time because that's what you're good at. I want you to try new things and new elements and add new ways of quilting. Try new things. Be different. One other thing I wanted to show you. It's kind of pleasing to the eye if you're changing from a large to a small to start with a large and end with a large. And it just makes it more pleasing to the eye because then you think, oh, they ran out of room or something like that. So just make sure that you start with a large and end with a large, or if you're starting with a small, end with a small. It works a little nicer and it's more pleasing to the eye. Just a couple more things as you're quilting. Just a few thoughts that I want to bring to your attention is as you're quilting, even free motion quilting, getting your quilt on nice and straight really does help it turn out more even and beautiful. If you put your quilt on uneven, it's going to look a little uneven and a little sloppy. So as you're putting your quilt, use your cloth leaders or make sure that your edges are nice and straight. It just makes a lot of difference as you're quilting. And it keeps it from moving up your quilt at an angle or down. So make sure that you have a straight line going across your quilt and that your edges of your top and your bottom are nice and straight. And if it's a piece top, make sure that you're positioning your top where you want that strip or wherever you want that block to be. So if you want to spray baste as you're positioning it, you can. I do not like to baste. It's something that I just don't want to do. So I'm very aware because my backings are always piece of where I want that center, if I want it centered or if I want it off to the side. Then the other thing is as you're quilting, just recognize that there are different size throats of machine. I'm using a 19-inch machine, so I have quite a distance I can travel, and I could make a larger design, one big, huge design. If you have a smaller throat, then the size of your design is going to have to be smaller and in proportion that you can quilt it without hitting the back of the machine. So as you're quilting along, if you have a smaller throat, then you're going to hit the back of your machine and it can mess up your design. So make sure that you know how far you can quilt without hitting the back of your machine. So I like to, with my chalk, just mark. So I'm not going to mark it down here past the foot. You're going to want to mark it up here before it hits. So I know that that's how far I can travel without hitting the back of my machine. And then if I hit the back of my machine, it's going to mess up my design and cause me to have a straight line because I'm hitting the back of it. So make sure that you do your markings as you're quilting along and that you're tacking down the edges of your quilt. If you happen to sew off the edge of your quilt as you're coming back onto it, I'm just going to show you right down here. It can fold over the edge of it, but also it can get caught between the needle and the foot, and you can sew your quilt block down in your foot, and then you're just going to have to cut it out. Or be really careful as you're unpicking it right there. So notice that this is extremely important, and a lot of, one that I learned the hard way. So learn from me, okay? I do not like to unpick, but yet I made a big mess by not tacking down the edges of my quilt. And so ever since then, I've been very religious about tacking down the edges, even with free motion quilting. And even if you're quilting inside this area, it's a good rule of thumb to always tack down your quilt edges, because you never know if you're accidentally going to sew off the edge. So those are just a few rules and techniques. And I look forward to you joining me for part 2 of this, where I'm going to show you some accessories for free motion fundamentals that you can use to help ease you into that process. So join me next time. And please, look at the Spring Fling, look at all the beautiful quilts that are there. If you have quilts, enter them, and join me again for our next free motion fundamentals part 2.
Welcome. My name is Janessa and I'm here with the Grace Company. Today we're going to be doing a 2-part class all about our True Cut system, which is the most safe, easy, and accurate cutting system on the market. We're really going to be utilizing one of my favorites, which is the True Cut 360 Circle Cutter. So we're going to be creating a fall pumpkin banner using our circle cutter. I love this pattern because I wanted to create something really simple and really easy that I could duplicate really quickly to make lots and lots of these for my friends and family. So that's why I wanted to do it just as simple as possible. We'll be doing kind of a raw edge applique as we quilt. If you want to do that needle turn applique, you're welcome to that as well. But that's the process we'll be doing in this specific educational video. So in this class, we'll be going through the cutting, kind of the planning, the fabrics, and then in the second video, we will be going through kind of how to quilt it, how to use the couching foot to do really fun vines, and then at the very end, cutting and assembling our banners. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing, we want to go through and pick our fabrics for our pumpkins. This is always my favorite part. I love picking out the fabrics. When you're doing that, you want to go through and pick fabrics that are kind of in the same tones, because when you go to the orange section of fabrics, there's a million different tones. There's really brights, there's really darks, there's some with really, really strong prints. For this one, I chose kind of a little bit more muted, a little bit more of a neutral looking orange, but still had some fun prints. If you want to do something really bright and wild, do your thing. This is your banner, so it's totally up to you. I also think it would be really cute to do like little white pumpkins. So yeah, lots of really fun options with this pattern that you can swap out and do whatever you choose. So let's go ahead and get started with cutting. So when I first picked up this 360 circle cutter, I was like, what in the world? Where are all these knobs? What do I do? And it's become one of my absolute favorite products because it is so fun and it's so easy to use. And of course, like all of our True Cut products, it's really safe, so I don't have to worry about any of my appendages or slicing any of my fingers. So let's go through the different parts. The first is this little knob, which sets how large you want your circles to be. It's basically kind of setting your radius. So we'll go through and you can twist this, and there's a really great ruler along here where you can set your knob. I was cutting my circles at 5.5. But again, if you wanted to do some bigger circles or smaller, it's totally up to you and whatever your preference is. So you go ahead and you tighten it right on that knob. Okay, the next part on the 360 cutter is the actual blade. It's really great because it has a safety feature. So we just open up the lock, and you can see the blade guard. You can easily just take that off, put it to the side, and just remember when you're done cutting to be sure to put it back on so we can make sure that we're being safe. Also, these are really nice because you can very easily just swap out the blade. When you're cutting circles, you really want to make sure you have a nice sharp blade so that your fabric isn't grabbing on that blade. So make sure it's nice and sharp and make sure that your cover is off. And then you just go ahead and just snap it back into place and you're ready to go. Okay, so the really great thing about this cutter as well is you can cut multiple pieces of fabric or multiple layers at one time. I did learn, however, when I was doing that, I was folding my fabric, I was ending up with more waste. So if you want to take your different colors of fabric and layer those and cut it that way, you can. I personally felt like I was being really wasteful when I was like taking this fabric and folding it in half and cutting that way. So it's up to you and whatever your preference is. You want to make sure that your fabric is ironed. I noticed if there was a really strong fold, it would kind of get caught, and then I would end up with weird little edges or things, and my circles weren't exactly perfect. So that's another thing to really keep in mind when you're using this product. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to just place it right here. And this part right here, this circle, is kind of our center point. Like I said, here's our center point, kind of goes out. There's our radius. And there's a very specific way to hold it so that it makes it easier to get all around in a circle so you don't have to readjust your hands. Okay, so what you're gonna do is put your, I guess it depends. I'm right-handed, so this is the way I do. It would just be reversed if you were left-handed. So you're gonna place right here and press down on the circle. And then you're gonna take the blade and just go around in a circle. And ta-da! Isn't that so fun? I love it. I could just cut circles all day long. I love it. So you'll just go through and cut out all of your circles so that you can then piece it into your many different pumpkins. Again, you could do a whole bunch of this color. You could swap it out like I did here. It is totally up to you and your preference. So I'm doing 5 pumpkins on this banner. You could do more, you could do less. I'm not here to tell you exactly how to do it, just kind of that process. So you'll go through and cut out all your circles, and then we want to do our stems. So let's go ahead. I'm going to fold this up and get it out of the way. And now we're going to move on to our ruler cutting system, which is another one of my favorites. I will be totally honest with you. Cutting fabrics was one of my least favorite parts of the whole quilting process because I would always be wasting fabric. I'd have to redo it over and over and over and just get really frustrated, honestly. So I really have fallen in love with the True Cut cutting system because it is so accurate. It's super safe. I never have to worry about my fingers. And yeah, I just really love it. So the next part is our stems for the pumpkin. So we'll be cutting the fabric along the lines here and leaving this loop because that's actually what we'll be using to string our banner at the very end. Might sound a little weird right now, but when we get to the second video, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to be using our True Cut rotary cutter and ruler kit. I really, really love this system because in the past, cutting was always my least favorite part of quilting. In fact, it pushed me away from starting new projects because I just did not want to do the cutting process. I was always wasting fabric. I was cutting it uneven. My ruler would slide out of the way and I would have my cuts all over the place. And I love the True Cut system because it helps prevent all of those things. The first thing is I have my mat, and behind my mat I have an awesome grip pad that keeps my mat nice and straight so that if I'm putting any pressure on it, it's not going to move out of the way and mess up my cuts. The next is our really great track system that is built into our rulers that keeps our cutters right in line with that guide. It helps keep things really nice and accurate, and of course always super safe too. And the last step in keeping our rulers super accurate is our true grips. These are amazing because they just are applied right to the bottom of the ruler and will keep the fabric or keep your fabric from moving around and keep your ruler nice and straight. So let's go ahead and apply a few of those. So I've got these circle true grips here, and I'm just going to place one in each of these corners. So I've got one there. And you can see on the grid, they've actually made room so that those true grips fit on there perfectly. And this is what will really help keep our fabric and our ruler nice and flat and straight. Okay, so let's go ahead and get those started. So I'm going to line up my fabric and then line up my ruler. Okay, so first you're going to take the safety off of your rotary cutter. Then you're going to line up the guide with the track system. It just latches on really nice and easily. And then just go ahead and cut. And it's as easy as that. All right, so then I'll go through and cut each of the stems individually. So move this out of the way. I'm going to line up my fabric so I can make sure I'm keeping everything nice and straight. And I'm going to cut these about 1.5 inches. So I've got 1 stem, and I need 5 for this particular banner. Two. 3. I should have ironed this. Always iron your fabric. It will make your life so much easier. Glad they're using the tape guns. And our final stem. Oops. All right, and we have all of our stems ready for our pumpkin. So let me show you kind of how we'll be laying it out and piecing it. So there isn't actually any sewing beforehand to prep this. We're going to be doing all of it as applique with our quilt machine. So when I piece these together, I kind of wanted it to place it over here so you can see better. I didn't want them to just be straight across like this, where all the points are lining up. I kind of wanted to have more of like a rounded look. So when I'm placing it on the actual quilt top, I'm going to kind of just adjust them a little bit like that. And then I'll take my stem, make sure that the loop is at the top, and place it just like that. In the next class, we'll be going through quilting this using rulers and the ruler base. And then we'll also be using the couching foot, where we'll get to sew on our little pieces of thick yarn to create some really beautiful vines. So I'm really excited to show you that during our next class. As you can see, it is so easy to use our 360 circle cutter to create creations of your own, like this fall banner, or anything that you can come up with. It's so much fun. So be sure to check us with our next video as we continue on with this fall banner. We'll be using rulers and the ruler base, and we'll be tacking down it to our quilt top. We'll also be using some circle templates to give it some great design. And then at the end, we'll be using the couching foot to put those designs on top of the pumpkins, just to give it that nice pop. And then at the very end of that, we'll be using our True Cut system once again to cut out that banner, string it together, so you're able to give these to all of your friends and family. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow our Instagram and visit our website at graceframe.com or contact your local dealer. I'm Janessa, and thanks so much for joining us at the Grace Company.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed that. I love watching both Carla and Janessa quilt and bring us new, fun, exciting ways to do quilting. We had some fantastic comments. This one at the end I wanted to pop up from Chris. She said, True Grips, the product with endless uses in the house. I think that's so fantastic because yes. I know I use True Grips not just for all my quilting needs, but also everything else. But we didn't have a ton of questions, so we wanted to talk about some of our questions. But before we get any further, we realized that we did not do our giveaway that we were going to do before our videos. So we're going to do that really quick. So this is the 10-foot luminous light bar. It's for you can do it at 10 feet, or you can bring it down to 8 or 5, and it even has some like sections on the like where the screws go in that you can extend just a little bit, so it can be 11. However, if you have a 12-foot frame, you can contact Quality and they can help you get that 2-foot extension. So for the luminous light bar, let's do a drum roll for who our pre-registration winner was. So drum roll, boom.
Congratulations, Deborah Turner. You are the winner of the 10-foot luminous light bar.
Congratulations, Deborah. Now we have your information because you registered for the event. So we will reach out to you directly to get your address and phone number, and we can get that all taken care of. So thank you so much for pre-registering. For anyone else who didn't, we will put it in the chat again, the link, so you can register, win some of our fantastic other prizes. We have the Quilters combo, and then we also have the grand prize giveaway. So that's, fantastic. Love that we can bring those products to you. And again, if you don't win and you just can't live without any of these fantastic products, contact Quality. You can email them or get a phone number or a phone call to them to get all the fantastic pricing that we've got going on. It's, again, 2-day ahead of schedule of all the pricing that we're doing for our Grace event in October. So that's info@qualitysewing.com or 800-687-5175. So, okay. Whew. Was there anything on the videos, Riva, that you had a question so that we can do our lovely Plinko game here with more prizes?
Oh, well, there questions, or I saw a comment that I really appreciated.
Okay, yeah.
During the free motion one, Tammy had mentioned that she has some stability issues with her movements, and so she has a hard time with doing like a pantograph or following a pattern. So she just lets her body movement be the style of quilting that she does, and she does a meander.
Love that.
And I thought that was really a great thing, because a lot of people have limitation or something that keeps them from feeling that they can do something, and that just goes to show that you really can. And I think that's great. Go with what is good for you. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, let's give Tammy a prize, because that's a fantastic thing to bring up. So let's do our Plinko. So for our Plinko today,
that was Tammy Schemmer,
Tammy Schemmer. Okay.
Yes.
So on our Plinko, we have a couple of different items on our schedule. We've got the straight cutter. It's the 45 straight cutter. We've got the square ruler bundle. We have the rectangle ruler bundle. Now on the square, I'll go back to the square. The square is a 6.5 square, a 9.5 square, and a 12.5 square, and includes a package of True Grips. The rectangle has a 6.5 by 12.5, a 3 by 18, or a 6.5 by 24. Then we have a pack of the finesse thread. It's the 4-pack, either the variegated or the solid is an option to win. Then we have our 45 millimeter comfort cutter, and then our item that was talked about there at the end with our fall banner, our 360 circle cutter, which was one of my favorite things about that fall banner set. So, okay, so Allegra, we've got our Plinko chip. Let's see what we can get Tammy.
Yeah, you want to give it some luck? Okay, ready? Oh, the rectangle ruler bundle.
That's fantastic. So again, that's a 6.5 by 12.5, the 3 by 18, and the 6.5 by 24.5 inch ruler pack with the bundle set. So Tammy, if you will email melinda@graceframe.com and get her your information so we can get that sent out to you. And again, if anybody else, take this address down now. Because if you're doing win any of the other Plinko stuff, Melinda is our prize person here at the Grace Company, and she absolutely loves it. She's always like, what prizes am I giving away this time, and who am I sending them to? So take it down now, melinda@graceframe.com. She will get that information to her. So, okay, Allie, did you have a question about any of the videos we could have
Yes,
people come up with?
I did. So during the free motion video, when Carla's, starting in the beginning, explaining a few things, what is the name of the doodle that goes back and forth or up and down? What did she call that?
Ooh.
Give your answer in the chat for a chance to win one of our Plinko prizes.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to remember if I remember that one. Let's see if anybody has it in the comments yet. That's a good question. It's almost like I want to go back and watch it.
I know.
Let's see. So while everybody's coming up with that, a reminder that we're going to do, coming up, we'll have our video of how to quilt on the Cutie, and then also our Sure Stitch Elite. So I know when I got to see quality at a lot of the events coming on, at our we had a business to business event. We got to see all the Sure Stitch Elites, and it was really great fun to try and see all those things. So let's see, did anybody come up with the correct answer? So really quick before we get started, we do have a question. How difficult is it to adjust the size of the light bar? There's just some couplers in between the lights. So if your lights are in the middle, then you can just take out that coupler when you're setting it up, and if you want to put the coupler in to expand it. So it's not very difficult. It's just a screw in. So did we get a winner?
We got a winner.
Okay, who's our winner?
This was a little bit of a tough question. So the first one I saw come through was Lois Young with Hills and Valleys, and you are correct.
Congratulations, Lois. Yes, that is Hills and Valleys. Those were the ones that go up and down, and they can go side to side, but they're called Hill and Valleys. So, I'm gonna do this one for Lois. Lois, I feel what you're wanting on the True Cut. So I'm going to put it on this side. So that is our square ruler bundle. Congratulations. Oh man, this is such a fantastic set. It's the 6.5 by square, the 9.5 by square, the 12.5 by square, and then the package of True Grips. And actually, Allie, I'm gonna throw in for Tammy and Lois for winning those prizes. I'm gonna throw in 3 packages of True Grips, because you need
True Grips?
the True Grips on there, and then you need the other True Grips for extra stuff, right?
I mean, I put True Grips on the bottom of all my plant pots. So.
That's a great place to put them.
Pesky cats from knocking them off.
So one question, we did just mention it. So in the fall banner, so that was part 1. And then later today between 1 and 2, we have part 2 where Janessa will finish up all that information. It's gonna be really great. It's the cutest little fall banner. But what was the tool she used to make the circles with? This one might be a little bit easier for everybody.
That's one of my favorite items.
Let's see if everybody comes through. And I mentioned it just a little bit ago too. So let's see. People are typing as fast as they can. Let's see. Oh, yes. We have Chris R. from the Grace platform. She said it is the circle cutter, and that is correct. So again, that circle cutter and all the True Cut items are 20% off this month for the pre-October sale with Quality Sewing going on. Now, if you did not get a chance to win any of these prizes, we're going to have you contact Quality, and you're going to have that chance to win that win 20%, win the 20% off right away. So that's 20% off that circle cutter. So contact them. That'll be fantastic. So Chris, Allie, I think is going to do the special magic for you on this one.
We're putting in some good vibes into it. You did that way, right? Last time. We'll do this way this time.
Ooh,
the thread.
So that's a 4-pack of finesse thread, and we'll let Chris decide whether it's the variegated or solid. So the solid pack comes with 4 of our, what's the right word for it?
Like neutral tones.
Neutral tones, yeah. It comes with a snow white, pearl white, light wool, and a light gray, smoky quartz. Or you can choose the variegated, which comes with a gray version, a black gray version, green, and blue. So you can choose either of those, Chris. Congratulations. So yeah, were there any questions you saw Riva or Allie coming in since that time? Were there any questions about the videos that we had?
So I didn't see a question particularly on the video, but I did see this comment come through that says it's $59.99 on the website. So if you haven't heard us, or maybe you came just a little bit late, we are opening these spooky good October deals to Quality just a couple days early before October hits. So to get those good deals that we were mentioning, give them a call or go to their website, email them at this information below, and they will be able to give you those early October specials that we are offering them today.
Yeah, so they're not on the website yet, but email or give them a call. Their customer service people are standing by. It'll be great for you to get contact with them. So really quick, I wanted to know we had a fall banner thing. What are some of your favorite things about fall? So Riva and Allegra, I want to hear from you guys as well. One of my favorite things about fall is I love going to pumpkin patches and picking my pumpkin and then carving it. I just love carving it and then taking all the seeds and roasting them. That's one of my favorite things about fall.
Yes, what about you, Riva? What's your favorite thing about fall?
Well, up here we have some of the most beautiful fall leaves, and fall is one of my favorite seasons. And I just love the middle of October when the leaves fall off the trees and everything is so brightly colored, and we've got those huge maple leaves. They're just so big.
Yeah.
It's so pretty. It's just such a beautiful area. So I love looking at the trees.
That's lovely. I think my favorite thing about fall is the weather. I'm definitely a cold person. I love the colder weather more. And I think all of my wardrobe is not summer clothes. So when that cold weather starts to hit, I can start pulling out all of my wardrobe. I love clothes. I have some really nice coats. I've gone thrift shopping. So now it's time to break those out again. And I think that's my favorite thing about fall.
That's great. Thank you both. So some comments have come through. Marianne says, I love the leaves that change colors, just like Riva was saying. I like Deanna. She's saying, I love apple donuts. Oh,
like
yeah.
apple fritters?
No, apple
Or
donuts.
like apple donuts.
Yeah. I got some at the farmer's market recently. I love that too.
And are they cake or are they raised?
Oh, it was cake for mine. I don't know. Diana, tell us about whether yours are raised or not. Joanna says, fall colors, caramel apples at the state fair.
The brisk weather, yes. I love the brisk weather.
Let's see, she said, colors fall, all trees in different colors. The best view I saw was on I-90 approaching Issaquah, the hillside, if gorgeous. So check that out. Candace has given us even where to go. Maybe there's a TV camera we can hop into and we can scroll specifically to that spot. Let's see, Pat says apple picking. Let's see, Kay says pumpkin pies. Oh, so many great, fantastic comments. On the gray site, Eddie says pumpkins and Chris says autumn leaves. It's fantastic. So thank you so much. Oh, one more. Jeanette says apple turnovers and pie and apple cider. Oh.
My grandma makes the most delicious homemade apple pie, and it's hitting that season again.
That's fantastic. So thank you everybody for your comments. If you have any questions, comments about the videos, about the pricing, put them in the chat, send an email to, or give a call to Quality, and we'll get that all taken care of and get you those answers. Now, we're gonna move on to our next set of videos. We've got Carla back again with Laurel. She's teaching her how to work on the Cutie frame and how to put fabric on. Now, this was filmed during COVID, so they're both wearing masks, not that either one of them are sick. So you don't have to worry about either of their health. And then we're gonna go right into the next is the Sure Stitch Elite. Now the Sure Stitch Elite works with your domestic machine so that you can have stitch regulation. So a lot of times with long arms or mid arms, you already have that stitch regulation included, but your domestic, you're the stitch regulation, right? And some people would love that. It also has that edge warning that Riva had mentioned earlier. So we're gonna move right into how to quilt on the Cutie frame with Carla.
Welcome everyone, I'm Carla Jerome. This is Laurel, and I get to show Laurel how to use this fabulous little Cutie frame. First of all, it's very easy to put together. It is a solid little frame. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to vibrate off the table. So no need to worry about what surface you're really doing it on. You just want the table to be nice and level. You could even use it on your countertop, in your RV. It's just such a nice portable frame. Now, Laurel, that you've put it together, just make sure that you can move the carriage side to side, front to back freely. After you've set your machine on the frame, the height of this pole here is called a take-up pole because it takes up all your quilt after you've quilted. A good rule of thumb is to put your hand underneath with it laying flat, and you can tell it just barely hits, and so it's the perfect height right underneath here. So then, just coming and looking at this, you want to make sure that this pole, see how it kind of angles down just a little bit? Just make sure that it's even right underneath here. So to put your hand right across here and kind of tell.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about the sewing machine. These right here, these are called feed dogs. They grab the fabric and kind of push it along as you're piecing or sewing. These need to be down so you have a smooth surface to move your quilt through. The other thing is the foot that you use. You need an embroidery foot or a quilting foot, something that makes it easy for you to glide across. You just want a smooth foot that you can easily see. Then the other thing is bobbins. I like to wind several bobbins before I start so that I don't have to stop in the middle of it. So look at your project and decide how much quilting you want on it and kind of guesstimate how many bobbins. Let's talk about preparing our pieced quilt for quilting. If you're going to piece your back, just make sure that you've ironed it and pieced it correctly. So we're going to lay our pieced backing, and I have gone and found my center of my backing, the top, and I've marked it with the pen.
Okay.
And the center with the bottom. So this will help me line up my batting. And I found the center of my batting as well, top and bottom.
Okay.
And I pinned it to my backing. And then I just pinned the sides. So now all I have to do is line up my pins, and I can just move it over and line it up. And that's all we have to do. Let's talk about leaders. I have a few inches on the top and a few inches on the bottom. The leaders are an extension of your fabric. If you don't have them, you will need to make your backing that much wider and that much longer. One leader's got cording in it to help you start rolling it up. You'll find the center of your leader. I'm going to just take my pencil here, or my pen, and just mark it. And I write a C for center. I'm just going to take my leader, and I'm going to line my backing up all my pins, and I can take one pin and just pin straight across. And I'm just going to do that all the way across my top. And so we'll quickly do that. And the same thing that I do at the top, I'll do with the bottom. You'll just pin it straight across. And you'll always pin from the center out. And the reason is if you get a wrinkle or anything like that, you're pulling it from the center out so that you can adjust. Now this leader is quite a bit longer, and that's for your larger size quilts. So don't cut it down. It's not going to inhibit you in any way. It's just going to help you. You do the same thing with the bottom one, and the bottom one's even wider. So as you get to the end of your quilt, the leaders allow you to quilt all the way to the edge of your beautiful quilt that you've created. If you didn't have them, you'd have to cut a portion of it off because you couldn't sew because it'd be wrapped up over the pole. And I have a couple of sets because I get bored with my quilts, and so I like to jump from one project to another. So sometimes it's nice to have two sets. And with these frames, you can take them on and off and start on something new. We're going to slide our leader through the arm of our machine and adjust it to start quilting. We want to make sure we're putting our backing and our batting and everything under the foot. One thing I want you to notice, your carriage and your machine will only go so far before it hits the sides. So if you move your machine all the way to the side, you can notice that eventually your machine and your carriage will hit the side of the frame, and we don't want that to disrupt our quilting, okay? So I'm going to adjust my starting side out of way so that as I'm starting, I'm not going to hit. I'm going to move it all the way down. But I want to make sure that I can quilt this edge, okay, without it hitting.
Okay.
And now we can start putting our clamps on. And you want to adjust it also so that you can start right on this edge. So you can pull the batting up just a little bit. And so bring your machine out where it's going to start. See, we have that much area. So let's pull it up just a tad more. And there we go.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll put my needle in the down position. So what I like to do now is make sure my back has no wrinkles in it.
Okay.
And so I like to just pull it. And then sometimes I'll baste across the top edge to hold my quilt in place as well. So we'll have you do that in just a minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to now put on our 2 bottom clamps. Okay, and they go on a specific way. So you look at the name right here. This name has to be showing correctly, and we want to take these up off.
So facing you.
Yeah, facing you.
Cutie, like I did.
Yeah, so the cutie needs to be facing so you can read it, not upside down, okay? And as you clamp it on, you clamp it down. And it comes with 2 side clips, so you can put them on. And it comes with 2 side leaders also, so you could clamp that on and pin it so you get extra tension. And helps keep it nice and straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull our quilt out, and we're going to start rolling it up. And you can look at your wrinkles on the back as you're rolling. I've got one right here. Just pull it out from the center out, just like you would on a rolling frame. And just keep rolling. Now we're just going to clamp it. Let's start rolling this on, and we can clamp this as well. And make sure you're counting all your little clamps, because if you leave one undone, you'll notice it and feel it. Okay. With this frame, you can sit or stand. If you're using a machine that requires a foot pedal, you will want to sit. So I'm going to have you sit down. You want to make sure that your machine is threaded correctly. And so make sure that you have the thread pulled through your tension knob and through the spring so that you get that tension. But right now, you can tell that as I pull this, how easy it is to pull. Oh, that's because your presser foot, which is this foot right here, and this is the presser foot lever, isn't down. Once I put the presser foot down, you can feel that tension. And so you need to remember to put the presser foot down. Otherwise, you're going to have really loose tension, and your thread's going to look like shag carpet underneath, and you don't want that. Once you have the presser foot down, you want to make sure that you bring your bottom thread up. So find the needle up, needle down button on your machine, and it'll go down, and then push it one more time, and it brings the needle back up. Now, if you'll just barely move your machine away, see how it's going to pull up that bottom thread?
Okay. Yeah, the loop.
So that you don't have any of those thread tails underneath, okay?
Okay.
So you just pull that up. One other thing I want to point out is we want to tack down the edges of our quilt, just in case we sew off the edge. Notice that my foot is underneath my quilt, so if I sew off the edge and I start coming back, it's going to grab that quilt and make a wrinkle in it, and it can even tear your quilt. So what we're going to do is move the machine down as far as we can. Going to lift up the presser foot just a little bit, put it on that wide area right there, because it doesn't matter how straight it is. I'm going to cover this with my binding. So when you're pushing down on the foot pedal, if you push too slowly, the machine's just going to barely start revving up and start moving, just like with a car.
Okay.
And so you want to make sure that you give it enough acceleration so that as you're pushing it, your stitches look decent. And you're going to go up to this corner and go across as far as you can reach.
Okay.
Okay, now start going across. See how easy that is? There we go. Now you hit the back. So now you can hit that thread cutter if you want. There you go. So now we've tacked down our quilt. Laura, do you feel comfortable just jumping in? I've drawn the design on for you and start to quilt, or do you want to practice first?
I've never really done this before, so let me practice.
So practicing to get the motor skills and the thought process is really important to free motion quilting. So just take some time. We got our paper here.
Okay.
And Laurel has her pencil. You could maybe kind of draw the design through the paper, and it doesn't have to be exact. It's just to learn the motion so that you understand it before you start quilting. Take a piece of paper, lay it over the fabric, and just trace an outline of them so that you can understand the proportion and how far up and how far down to move.
We'll start with just that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just move it off to the side here and just see what I've done. So you're just going to start up there, and you just start with this one right here.
So just done
And just go up, down, up, down. It's really easy. I chose really simple, easy designs to start out with. But even the simple, basic designs like up, down movements make your quilt that much prettier.
Yeah, well, this is good for me because like I said, I've never really done this before, so
all you do.
simple's good.
And then when you feel comfortable, then we'll just start. Yeah.
Loop, loop. Okay, I think I got a good idea.
All right, I've taken a chalk pencil, and in the star area, I thought it'd just be fun to just do a nice little long loop. One other thing I want to point out, with the hoop frame, because you have covered up most of your area, you don't know when you're going to be coming close to the end to hit it.
Yeah.
So we'll take a little piece of tape, move my machine down here, and we're going to mark it just inside this area. This block right here is as far as we can move. Now the front. You know that you're not going to have enough area to quilt this block here or a part of this block, okay? So we're going to have to just focus on this area up here, and then we'll shift it so you can do this whole block all at once. So you're just going to focus on this top row, and you remember how to pull your thread up?
Yes.
Take a deep breath.
Okay.
And start out slow, and you'll get very comfortable, and then just enjoy.
Okay, well, let's go for it.
There you go. Good job. And you don't have to stay right on the lines. Just nice and smooth. Yeah. It's fun, isn't it?
Yes.
There's your first one.
Boom. Okay, I got this.
Yes, she did. She has it.
Okay, let's try just a little bit of this one.
Okay.
I'm just going to start right here.
Uh-huh. There you go. Nice. See, she's getting more confidence, so she's going a little faster, just like your learner's permit.
Yes.
There you go.
Awesome. Look at that. I can totally do this.
Yes, you can. We knew that all along. So now while we've got Laurel quilting, I'm going to talk to you about the different machines that this Cutie frame can accommodate. Up to a 19-inch machine. So you can put the 15M, the 15R, the 15 Pro, or the 19-inch machine on this frame. And what's nice about it is this piece right here extends out, so it can give you more quilting surface for you to quilt. Another nice feature is you can add automation to it. You are not limited to the way you want to quilt. If you are not comfortable with the free motion quilting, you can add automation and have it do the quilting for you. It's just a fabulous frame. It is for anybody and everybody. If you need a second frame and you like to quilt on the go, this is the frame for you because you can fold it up, put it away, and store it and get it back out. If you're a seasonal quilter and you have a second home and you need a quilting frame, hey, this is good for you. Somebody who's in assisted living who wants to keep doing what they love, this is the frame for you. And you saw with Laurel, man, she's going for it. She is a quilter now. And are you liking it, Laurel?
Yeah. I just want to keep going.
Laurel has finished up everything that she could quilt and as far out as she could quilt. And so now she gets to shift the quilt to finish up the next section. So that's what we're going to do right now. when you're rolling or when you're shifting, you don't want to roll it up all the way past so that you have a space in between as you're quilting. So you want to leave a little bit of what you quilted showing. So maybe about a ½ inch.
Okay.
We'll just shift it down this way. And we'll just lock it into place and you can finish up and then we'll roll it up.
Okay.
Let's lock all of these in place first.
Okay.
I always like to lock these in place so I can get the wrinkles out. All right, and let's just pull this up. Kind of pull it out like that.
Oh, yeah.
And put it on. And then we'll just lock it into place. She's going to just finish this next section, and then we're going to shift it and start rolling so that she can finish this. And then I'm just going to come around here. And with your leader claws, you get a little leader to hold right here, but I'm just going to hold
Okay,
it.
I think I'll tack it down really quick.
There you go. There you go. Nice. Right there. There you go.
Okay. Come in and do these sections.
All right, she's just got a few more to do. And see how quickly she's mastered using her domestic machine and the design. It really does help to draw your design in your blocks. And she's mastered the foot pedal, thread cutter really well. Now you feel like you're kind of in your groove, you've got your rhythm,
Yeah,
you
just
know
keep
what you're
going.
doing.
Yes.
It's comfortable now.
Yes.
All right, what we're going to do is unclamp and we're going to adjust it so it's up just a little bit, okay? Take these off. And this cording on this leader cloth just helps to make it a little easier for you to start rolling your quilt. Let's move the machine over here and make sure that we have enough room that we can quilt this.
Okay.
And so that's what we want to do. And because when we put our clamps on, let's put this clamp on first, then let's see where it lands. Okay, that's pretty close, and we're going to hit the back there. So we don't want to, and we can't even quilt the whole design.
Okay.
So we know we've done it too far, but that's what I'll do, is I'll sit there and I'll adjust one end.
Okay.
That way it's easier to line up all the way down the quilt.
Gotcha.
Okay, there we go.
So then you can
But
see.
can we? Yeah, we can. Close.
Okay.
All right.
I was going to say, even just doing this little bit of section, I really like the domestic machine because I think it's a good starting point. But I find myself wishing I had a bigger throat space just because already I could have stitched maybe this whole section.
Right. We'll just put this on and pull it as we're. So I'll just pull this section right here. And I'll let you put this one on. Quickly roll it up.
Let's pull up the chair.
Remember, we need to mark so that you don't hit the edges, okay?
Okay.
So you can take your existing piece, then let's move it down this direction. Let's figure out how far we can do it. Oh, right there, that's almost perfect. So you're just gonna stop right there, okay?
Okay.
Nice job.
Awesome.
Laurel has mastered quilting.
Yes.
So Laurel, this is your very first time machine quilting using the little Cutie tabletop fabric frame.
Yes.
So, was it easy?
Yes. Oh, yes. It was way easier than I thought it was going to be. It was super easy to get the hang of, to be able to just hook it on.
Could you go home and do it by yourself?
Oh, yeah.
If I wasn't there to coax you along
Yes.
and help you, and did you enjoy it?
Yes, I already want to keep going. I just want to keep doing the whole thing.
She's going to keep going. So thank you for joining us, and we hope you've learned a few things and purchase your Cutie tabletop fabric frame today.
Hi, welcome to the Grace Company. I'm Nathan Erznosnik, and today with me I have our special guest.
Carla Jerome.
Oh, really special guest, Carla. Everybody knows Carla. They love you, Carla. You're an international star.
No, I love them too. So I love y'all, and I appreciate you joining us today.
We do. Thank you for being with us. And this is an exciting little episode that we're going to talk about, the SureStitch Elite. Carla, this has been something in the works for a while. Tell me a little bit about when you hear SureStitch Elite. You know we've had our old one, which is, by the way, stitch regulation for your sewing machine.
Right.
What makes you excited about this product?
And that it brings your quilting kind of that little tech savvy feel, and it works so well. So you're not doing multiple things at once. You're not pushing down on your foot pedal. It eliminates that, and you just push the start button and you can move your machine across your quilt and it will regulate the stitches. So it's very easy to use and a lot of fun. It just takes all of that headache away from trying to manage the rhythm of your quilting with your foot pedal. So
wonderful. I think there are several key things. Stick with us because we do want to talk about what makes this so wonderful. We want to talk about, you know, how does this eliminate? I think one of the things you brought up was the headache. You know, I think trying to do multiple things while you're quilting, that can be a little bit of a challenge. I heard the word easy, which I really, really loved as well. You know, I think that's one question. Why or how might this make quilting easier? There's a lot of modes. I heard you also talk about quickly being able just to turn this off or on. And again, there's some other really amazing things we're going to get into as well, along with a couple last things. I know that you have a couple preferences. So stick with us as we go through these and dive into the SureStitch Elite. With that, Carla, one of the first questions I want to pose to you is having to do with maybe what some people might consider the headache in trying to quilt either with free motion or even moving our hands and our fabric underneath. And that is consistency in stitches and then trying to work our foot pedal. Why can that be such a challenge for our quilters out there?
well, it's, you know, when you're pushing on your foot pedal, you kind of, it's like learning to drive the car and you're pushing on the brake and the gas and trying to get that feel for not stopping all of a sudden and not speeding up all at once. And eliminating that just helps you free up your hands and your mind so that you can just move across your quilt without any of those other options to intimidate your quilting. So it just really frees you up to, you know, make beautiful stitches.
I love that. I will say, if you think about it, I ask, you know, the quilters out there, if you try to complete a quilt on your own, right, and so you're pushing this, or again, the same thing, once we kind of move a machine onto a frame, which is a wonderful, easy, it's an easy, light, smooth process. I would say that even my first concern, if I'm using a foot pedal, is how fast am I pushing that foot pedal? For what speed am I moving my hands, right? And maybe really quick, Carla, I'm not sure if this is up to show them how easy this moves and glides on this surface.
And when you're moving it and trying to push on your foot pedal, you'll get those inconsistent stitches. So sometimes they're going to be larger or smaller, and because you're pushing on it and you're trying to regulate your movements, but it's like patting your head, rubbing your stomach. You're trying to do all of that all at once. And yes, you can get in the rhythm, but this just makes it so much easier to free up your hand, free up your foot, and just let you dedicate your line of sight and your thought process to just the quilting and making that beautiful stitch.
Wonderful. So let me just kind of bring two pieces together. Some people will probably wonder, like, how does that really work? So we have our sewing machine.
Right.
Nothing special. This is your standard domestic machine. I would ask you to reach out, look online, or visit a dealer also for compatibility, because that's probably one of the key questions we'll get is, will it work with mine? But what it includes is you have your machine, which is its own piece. It doesn't change. You don't need something else as an add-on to your machine. You would have, for us here at Grace Company, we recommend the frame, because this does work with or in conjunction with the frame and your machine. So those two come together. There is a brain. So there's a smart box that I maybe can call it. We put that on the back of the machine and it's Velcroed on. And on the front handlebars, we have a screen display. And this screen is wonderful because this is really the new piece. This, when you talk about kind of bringing this and making it a little bit more tech savvy, we have our phones in our pockets. We're wanting the next notification. we're engaging with our friends, you know, and I think the question we have is, if we're using our machine, how can we bring some of those simple, quick access pieces, right? Turning them off, turning them on, and we'll talk about preferences.
And the touchscreen makes it, just very intuitive.
Comes right in, and that comes right here to the front, right in front of your handlebars. Now, whether you have different frames that Grace Company has that might have an over-the-machine handlebar, this can be mounted there. It can be mounted out front. This is the Cutie frame, by the way, which we love. It's been an exciting frame to have. So again, you have your machine, and then what happens is there's a power cord, so you do plug this into the wall or into your power strip, and then you simply take from this smart box, you take a plug and it plugs into your foot pedal. Now again, we're not going to show all those details, but it's fairly easy to put together because of that.
Oh, very easy to put together, and don't let it intimidate you. It is so simple and easy to use and to set up. It'll blow your mind.
Now with that, maybe Carla, share with us. Okay, so kind of to confirm, it's easy because we have the box, we have our display, we plug it in, and we plug it into the foot pedal port of your machine.
Right.
And I know that this new one also allows us to use certain features, like I think certain machines might have cutters and we can activate those kind of things. Again, we're not here to go through all the details specific to your machine, but I would recommend, again, look online on our website, give our customer service members a call or call your dealer. They can walk through more. We will show you a lot of the wonderful features here as we move into this, but again, that's the setup. Put your machine on here, plug it in, and we're ready to go. Now, Carla, you mentioned beautiful stitches, and it makes this easier. So now we're not having to, again, pat her tummy or pat her head and remember, we don't have to worry about two things at one time, foot pedal and motion. Would you mind just doing a quick demonstration by turning this on and then just moving it here a little bit across the surface to show us how smooth and how easy that is?
I would love to, because you know quilting is my thing. I love doing that. So you want to make sure that your presser foot is down, very important, and that we just turn on the start, and you'll see that the needle starts moving up and down. But see, I don't have to push on that foot pedal. I can just glide across and just concentrate on my beautiful stitches. Or my design, and that's a special feature.
We hear a little bit of a beeping, and somebody might say, was there a beeping? And we'll talk about that maybe here in just a minute about what we were hearing. So Carla, really quick again, I noticed you weren't having to hold yourself with your foot pedal. Even if you're sitting down, you're not having to worry about moving. You can just focus on the handles.
Right, and I could just glide across at an even pace. So I wasn't trying to guess, well, I'm pushing on my foot pedal, so I need to speed up my movement. Or I'm slowing down, so I need to slow down my movements. So it just eliminates all that little guesswork. And it really does help make your stitches nice and consistent.
And I like that because really, outside of giving you confidence to begin with, which is I don't have to worry about doing multiple things.
Right.
And we talked about that helping replace the foot pedal. That's kind of the no-brainer process and what everybody loves. Now we're talking stitch regulation, so creating consistent size stitches for you. As you move, we heard the machine speed up a little bit. Right. As we slow down, it slowed down. And I liked one of the things you talk about is that it helps make those beautiful stitches.
Right.
And I would ask you, as a quilter, as you've done several different projects, I know you use manual, we use stitch regulation, talking with our quilters, what is it that they will receive, or meaning what kind of confidence does it build by giving them stitch regulation in their system with something like the SureStitch Elite?
Well, it allows you to really, like I said, concentrate on working on making your design beautiful all the way across. So, you don't have to worry about how fast you're moving it, because the machine's going to speed up. And you don't have to worry about how slow you're going, because you can do it at your pace and at your speed. And that's really how you're going to develop that confidence, knowing that, hey, I can move as slow as I want because I'm just learning a design, or I can speed it up a little bit because I know the design more, and it's going to keep my stitches nice and consistent. And that really helps build that confidence. And the more you understand and the more you quilt, the more you love.
I really like that. One of the things that made me think about is I have one unfinished quilt, or Carly, you might have two.
Well, a lot,
okay? Three. Think about that. If you have your unfinished quilts, one of the things that stops people, usually there's two things that when I think about in general,
right.
Like I'm going to think about my machine and I'm like, wow, managing this fabric is kind of going to be difficult.
Very intimidating.
Yeah, intimidating. I do the straight lines maybe. So think about that. Is that somewhere where you're at? Are you feeling like, wow, I would love to get into them if I maybe had a tool that made it easier? So then we say the frame helps with the motion,
Right.
okay, and it helps manage fabric. To me, the next biggest, and this has just been, I've been in this industry for 15 years. And one of the things that I know when quilters come up to this is first, they're like, oh, I can't do this, right? And it's this
Right.
bit of, I'm not sure how well or what my design is going to be. But I think number one is, do I feel like I can manage the machine? And then really it's the stitching
Right.
of the machine. And so the thing I like to kind of have you think about is, if somebody now had an ability to then stitch regulate their machine, how do you feel that, what kind of position do you feel that puts them in as a quilter now? Is there an empowerment? Is there, we kind of talked about that, but do you feel like someone would now be able to get through more quilts in less time? Like what are some of the
absolutely.
advantages of then stitch regulating your machine?
Yeah, it does. It just frees you up to concentrate and work through your quilts that much faster. Because you're eliminating some of the processes that, really are inhibiting your way of quilting, and it does free you up. So you can crank through the quilts as fast or as slow as you want at your pace and enjoy the process because it is freeing.
I love that. Or as detailed
Right,
or not as
yes.
detailed, right? And I know there's a lot of other things like ruler work is another one,
absolutely, yeah.
using lasers. And I feel like, again, you're adding another process. So if we don't have to worry about the machine
Right.
and we can turn it on and then it regulates, it's just, again, it gives you that like literally immediate confidence.
Yes.
Now, I remember you worked with one of our employees here, I want to say it was last fall, and we did some things with this kind of a setup, and we did stitch regulation on it, and it was LJ. And I remember her starting, and I'm remembering the video, she kind of didn't want to stop, right?
No, she really enjoyed it, and it does. It brings that enjoyment back to quilting and just takes away those little challenges that you face. And what's not to love? It just really is a lot of fun.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carla. So again, if you're here and you're watching and we're talking again about the Sure Stitch Elite, which is a brand new stitch regulator here by the Grace Company. We do have our original Sure Stitch.
Yeah.
Still a wonderful product. We are going to keep that one. This one's the next level. I think you talked about a little more technologically advanced. It's a little bit more, it has these new features that we'll talk about.
It does have some great new features, but the old one, it's kind of like that mother figure that, it's refined this little baby, and this baby's this new generation of quilting, and it brings that in there. And when we first introduced the Sure Stitch, I didn't understand it. And now that I understand how it works, I just love it. And it's so important to help you with your quilting. So
wonderful. So let's talk about some of these wonderful features.
Okay.
One of those things I think is how easy it is to access or to choose specific options. And there are a few modes. So maybe if you'll just talk to our audience, what are some of the modes that it has? And maybe you can just verbally tell us why might you use one of those modes differently. So it does have a few different modes than our old one, our current original Sure Stitch as the Elite. And so tell us a little bit about that.
So it gives you a manual mode and a stitch regulated mode. And we say, well, why would you ever want to choose a manual mode? Well, you never know. You never know when it calls for a manual mode. When you move to a long arm, you get 3 different modes. So this just kind of brings it up a step. So
maybe if I can, so one of the things I just heard you say, and I love this is a way a way to elevate your machine closer to that long arm function. So also, I know if there's manual and then there's the regulated, maybe we can take a quick shot at the screen and maybe you can show us, because I believe there's some presets or there's some other functions with that.
Right here, you see the presets. You have 2 SPIs and 5 and 8. And so those are the machine speed settings. So you can, use the presets, or you can set it by yourself using the plus or the minus. So it's just very easy, and you just have to touch the screen to raise it up or lower it down.
Now, I believe in manual we have that same option where we can do a couple presets. So like if I want the machine to sew at 20%, we can just quickly go to the 20% or... And
you have a setting where you can, regulate how fast the needle is moving up and down, which is really nice because on particular stitches, it may call for a little tighter stitch, so you may want it to go up and down a little faster or a little slower if you want it separated. So
Yeah, I like to talk about, if I go and like talk about doing a grape or I need to go
Right.
fill a space, right? Instead
Right.
of having to move our machine around, we can let that machine work
Yeah.
at that speed to fill it in, which
Right.
really helps. Oh, wonderful. Also, outside of that, a couple other things. We talk about the touchscreen. Now, because we have this separate screen, we're able to bring some other things. One of those is I did hear it beeping when you started
Yes.
moving the machine. And why would it beep at you? Our old one didn't beep. It did have a screen, a little LED that showed you. This one has, I think, both screen that's showing us, and then it has an audible sound.
Right.
What are those sounds telling us when we hear
There are
that
a couple
beep?
different sounds. One is called the overspeed. And with any machine, you can move the machine faster than it can actually sew. And then it will beep at you, and that is what we call the overspeed. So that you can really help to make your stitches nice and regulated by listening and working with the Sure Stitch Elite. So that will really help. Then, a great new feature. Do you want to introduce that?
Well, I know this is really exciting.
It is. It's very exciting.
That, you know, there are some challenges that exist in general wall
Yes.
quilting. When a quilter walks up and they decide to put their hands on this, one of the first things we always have a customer do, and let me go ahead and let me just quickly cut this here. In fact, maybe hit
Right,
the cutter
I'll
right there. There we
No,
go. So one of the things they do is they're like, oh, this is really, really great. And they start moving down, and all of a sudden, because we have the machine, is we run out of space.
Yeah.
Now, that's not a problem. One of the great things about a frame like this is you can still work within the space, and the fabric actually helps stay out of the way. So you
Right.
actually end up with a little bit more finished quilting space on a frame like this than without it. But then you move to the back. So this is our workspace. But what we find is that customers end up not quite knowing. So I have taught people, hey, take a piece of thread, or you might
Right.
say put some tape across. But we have a feature, Carla. And that feature that actually is taking some technology that you probably will be familiar with out there with cars and other things, is it does create a barrier. And this is an invisible barrier that we
Right.
call edge warning. And so why don't you talk a little bit about what edge warning is meant to do, and then let's go ahead and walk through the process to engage it on this.
Okay.
And then let's show people how that works.
Edge warning is to keep you away from the edge and bumping into it and messing up your design. And it came about when a cute little lady came to me at a show, and she says, man, why didn't you tell me I was going to keep bumping into the back of my machine? I didn't have that much quilting area. She was really frustrated with me. And I tried to warn her, but then we came back. And then all of a sudden we're talking, and I thought, well, why can't we add an edge warning to beep at us and let us know that we're getting close to that edge so we don't mess up that design and it doesn't become frustrating for the customers. Well, lo and behold, we have.
So let's talk about what that is really quick. So edge warning, what is
Right.
edge warning? This is new, exclusive to Grace Company products. We have
Right.
this right now in the Sure Stitch Elite. And again, I like this is where the technology can come out,
Yes.
right? We can program features and functions. So right now, as this machine moves, and the customer's like, oh, I'm bumping into the rail, I'm
Right.
bumping into my machine. I wish the system could warn me that I'm getting closer. So think about your car. If you ever backed up and you hear, or you ever get close and your car starts going beep, beep, beep,
Right.
beep, 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 right? So there's this caution warning that has been built in, and you can set that space specific to your machine and the area that it's working in, so that if you start to get close, you're going to hear an audible, and we'll see a visual notation on the screen going, hey, you're getting closer. So why don't you go ahead and walk us through the quick process. Let's define this space, and then I would love to hear and see this
Okay.
in action.
So it's right up here. You see this little wheel? That is your settings screen.
Setting
so
button.
you're just gonna
Okay.
just tap on that, and you'll notice that you have all these different settings. You have display settings, machine settings, and we're going to tap on the tool settings right here.
Okay.
And that's going to give us some cool new features on this. You see a measure tool.
Yeah, so right here, other things we'll talk about in a minute, but measure,
and a
what else?
calculator and
Calculator.
edge warning. I'm going to tap on that. So I'm just going to move my machine to the upper left. Notice that I have the upper left
Okay, so
here.
it says upper left on the
Right.
screen, so you're going to move up to the upper left edge of your
Yes.
quilt space.
Right, and
Okay.
that's as far as I can go. And I'm going
Okay.
to tap right here on the upper left. So just going to tap on that, and I've set that. So I'm just going to move down here to my lower right.
Okay, so again, it asked you to go to the upper left, so we went to the upper edge of our quilt space. Now we're going to go down to the bottom right.
And I'm going to tap on that. And now I can set the setting a 1/2 inch or 1 inch for my warning.
So again, what this means is if the machine is getting close, we can tell it how far before the machine gets to that
Right.
space that it starts to warn us. Okay,
And I'm just
wonderful.
going to tap on the 1/2, and then we'll just get back into our main screen, and we're back here, and we'll just turn it on.
So she's quilting, and as she starts to get, the machine gets closer and closer, we can hear, and you can see when you get close, it starts to get a little bit more consistent and louder. So again, this is amazing. This has never been done, by the way, not on a machine and not in stitch regulations. So
It's very cool.
this is the part when I do this and people, you get the flat spots or you
right.
run out of space, and this is audibly now,
Right.
now telling us, by the way, you're getting close, and it doesn't mean you're there
Right.
because it starts to get a little bit, the beats
Right.
get closer together, right? As it
And you
gets-
can have a bigger gap and set the 1 inch rather than the 1/2 inch. It's just all up to you, and maybe on how big your design is, maybe that's going to be your setting. So, yeah, it's very cool and it's a lot of fun. And boy, is it going to relieve that headache of bumping into the back or the front of your machine and pushing it forward and hitting your needle and having your needle come out. Oh boy, all those headaches that I have done, you will not miss at all.
Wonderful. And with that, the great thing, Carla, is it works from the front to the back of the frame, and it works left to right.
Right.
On a hoop frame especially, think if this was completely covered, you can't see, so it also gives you that audible warning when you're
Right.
getting close to your side. So I will tell you, that's one of the amazing patented features that we actually have in this product in the Sure Stitch Elite, is an ability for it to manage that. So we're really excited. A couple last things as we kind of conclude here, Carla, with our guests that are joining us. It's really wonderful. It does come and you can set your preferences, but more importantly, it's all complete in the box. So I
Right.
think cords are included, power
Right.
supply, the main smart box, and the display and those cables for you to be able to get set up with it. And so Carla, as we kind of go through this, when I was talking to you here the other day, I really like a couple of these pieces, and maybe if I can go through those and then have you conclude with our quilters and why we would encourage them to go out and take a look at the Sure Stitch Elite. I know we started off again with the no foot pedal, right?
Right.
Making it easier so we're not having to think about doing multiple processes at the same time. The other thing, which is really more important than even that, is the quality of your stitch.
Right.
And the stitch regulation now that's being added to it. You mentioned easy.
Yes.
Right? So
Very
it was easy for us to use, easy to set up, easier to use with your system. I think we talked about, and I love the demonstration, that there are different modes and also preferences that we have with that. So you can choose kind of what works best for you,
Yes.
right? What works best for your designs. We talked about that amazing edge warning.
Yes.
That is pretty cool, by the way. That's amazing that it can give you your space and
Yes.
keep you within that space. Not only does it regulate it, but now it helps audibly and visually tell you where you're at, ultimately helping you become, I think,
Right.
a better quilter with that.
Absolutely.
So what would be any of the last words you would share with our quilters as they're watching this and able to see this amazing Sure Stitch Elite?
Oh, it's just really exciting to be able to bring technology that you inspired, because this was inspired by a sweet quilter. And you know, you are what keeps us going. You quilters out there, and you do inspire us so much, and we appreciate it. And so we're looking forward to all your great ideas and thoughts, and you'll love the new Sure Stitch Elite. It's built-in capabilities. It will just make you and give you the confidence to become a better quilter.
Wonderful. My last call to action is, again, if you think about you
Yeah.
want a no-hassle quilting experience, you want better, prettier stitches, there's an easy, simple way that gives you your personal preferences. Go take a look, find a dealer, call us at our 1-800-264-0644 to log on to graceframe.com. Again, at the end, I'll just remind you, we'd love for you to leave a comment if you have questions or want to comment below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, follow us on our Instagram and look at our websites. And with it again, thank you very much from Nathan Erznosnik and
Carla Jerome.
with the Grace Company.
Welcome back, everyone. Those were some awesome videos, right?
Yes.
We saw about how to quilt on the Cutie. We got to see Carla, and that was Laurel. She that was about 2 years ago, and so it's fun to see, if you've seen her in other videos, how far she's come with quilting and using our products. And then, of course, the game changer, the Sure Stitch Elite.
Yep.
Now, we had some questions come through. We tried to answer all those questions. If we didn't get your question answered. We're going to go through them now. So first we have Mary Ann Madsen asks, does the front rail end up slightly lower than the back rail? So as Carla was putting the domestic machine on that Cutie frame, you notice she put her finger underneath it to make sure the height was just about a finger's width away from the back rail. And so yes, your back rail does end up being a little bit slightly higher, and that's okay. And then just a reminder too, that with that, some people had asked about the fabric, like it seemed kind of loose, and that's okay, because when you're sewing your fabric, you're not stretching it tight across. If you're quilting just on your domestic machine, you don't want that so tight, because that's going to mess up tension. So we're not in the military, we're not bouncing a quarter off that quilting frame. So you just want it a little loose so it has that spot for tension.
Exactly. You don't want it tight enough that your fabric is fighting your frame.
Yeah. So next, Chris asks, do leaders come with a Cutie or are they sold separately?
They are sold separately.
Yeah. So you would want to order the Q-Zone hoop leader cloth set for that Cutie. Now you will think there, as it showed in the video, there was so much leader cloth for all the fabric, and that is on purpose. So you can do a very large quilt, even though you have the Cutie frame. You're not going to need to try and only do small quilts because you're doing the Cutie frame. You can do all types of sizes. Inez says, my mom already has the stitch regulator along with the Cutie frame. Will there be a way to upgrade the regulator to include the edge warning feature? And unfortunately, there's not a way, because the previous stitch regulators were just a plug-in, kind of replacing your foot pedal and then keeping that stitch regulation. But the edge warning has to come with that screen, and then also to connect directly for that edge warning. So for that, you'd have to upgrade to the whole Sure Stitch Elite. Now, the nice thing about the Sure Stitch Elite is that it is compatible with all the machines that is compatible with that. And to find that, you can go to Quality's website, and they, if you go to the Sure Stitch Elite, you can see they've got all the information on there exactly of which machines are compatible with the Sure Stitch Elite. And so they'll show like a brand name like Brother, Janome, or Juki, or whatever, and then they've got the specific ones that are compatible with that Sure Stitch Elite. Now, the nice thing about that is once you purchase a Sure Stitch Elite, it comes with all the cords, all the pieces that will connect you, so you only have to buy it once for all those machines. You don't have to get another one like the previous stitch regulation. So Reeva, have you had a chance to use the Sure Stitch Elite at all and test it out at all?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But before we talk about that, if I could, so I don't forget, we do have a team that is online that is available through the chat as well. So if you're looking for if the Sure Stitch Elite would work with your specific machine or any other question, and you don't, want to pick up the phone because you want to stay on watching the videos here, feel free to just go to the chat feature on our website at qualitysewing.com, and then they're happy to answer questions for you. But yeah, I have told people 100 million times, I'm not good at this. Because my stitches the same, and I always feel like I'm going to have to unsew everything I do, because that just makes me feel like I'm going to break out in hives. I get so stressed about it. And so, with Carla's information on, it's practice, do the simple shapes, but also with knowing that your stitches are going to stay the same length and that you don't have to go really super fast, or, you can just be at your comfortable pace makes a huge, huge difference.
Well, and I find even if I'm drawing my shapes on there, like she showed in the fundamentals of free motion, as I get to the corner, I start to go a little bit slower, and then I'm like, oh, big long section, go super fast. And so, yeah, going back and forth, having that stitch regulation is really helpful. And again, if you have any questions about if it's compatible, that is on Quality Sewing's website. You can go and look that up specifically to see which machine will be compatible with it. Because I know there's nothing worse than purchasing something and then you find out after the fact that it didn't work. So go and check it out ahead of time. And like Reeva said, you can chat, you can call in, you can email. So definitely, find out about that. One question we also had about that was, can you control the display brightness on the keypad? So yes, you can dim it slightly on that screen And also on the screen is where you would set the edge warning, and also on the screen is where you choose which machine you're going to be connecting with. Now, to go back to the Cutie, Chris asks, what is the smallest throat domestic machine that can work on the Cutie? Well, that depends. So depends on how frustrated you think you're going to get with a small throat space, right? So if you are using any domestic machine or mid-arm on the Cutie frame, you will lose about 2 inches of space for that back rail, right?
Yep.
So we don't recommend anything under 9 or 7 inches, because then you're only going to get 5 inches of quilt space or 7 inches. I mean, you can just do the math from there. Now, if you don't mind just doing a line or a couple of wavy lines, and then, so you can use a smaller machine, but we just know how frustrating it is that once you get going, you get your fabric on there, that you can only quilt just a little bit. Now, the quilting space for the Cutie, you get 31 inches left to right, and then whatever your throat space is. So you saw on the video, Laurel was starting to use that machine. It had about 8 inches of throat space, so she had 6 inches to work with. And by the end, she was saying, oh, I wish I had a longer throat space to do my quilting on, right? So definitely, you know, those questions of what will work, it's about, if you're going to get started, right, it's so much faster just to put it on the Cutie frame, but eventually you are going to get frustrated by wanting more space.
But isn't that the cool thing about the Cutie, is you can start with what you have, see how you like it. When you fall in love, you could even put the Q19, the Elite on there, and then you've got it all. So it's kind of cool to have something so economical that you can start with and enjoy it.
And that's the thing too, right? Like, it's not, okay, I'm going to be quilting and I'm investing in this process, and boom, I've got this whole big space. Or now, for me, I have to move my car out of my garage if I wanted to put a large quilting frame in there, because that's the only space that's big enough. My rooms aren't 10 foot or 12 foot. They're smaller than that. So the Cutie is perfect for my area, so that I can just put my frame up, and then I don't have to worry about doing small projects just because I have a small frame. And I love that I can upgrade with it. I can start with my domestic, and slowly, if I decide to upgrade to that mid-arm, then I can do that as well.
Not to mention
what was that?
The fun projects you can do if you have the Cutie frame. It's not so big, right? So you can do use water-soluble stabilizer and do a scarf with ribbon and yarns and things like that, and pack them down, and you can make placemats and bags and all sorts of really cool stuff that is less intimidating, because you are on a more of a clamp style, an easy frame to use. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we had, you'll see here with the banner that Janessa does, she does that couching foot, and that's one of my favorite ways to quilt, is piecing. I know a lot of people love piecing, but I don't love piecing, but I love designing the colors and stuff, and so that's one thing you're going to see later, and it's so much fun to do. We had one last question from Belinda. She's asked about, does it hook up to any machine? And I wanted to also talk about frames. So the Sure Stitch Elite will hook up to any machine that it's compatible with. Again, checking out with quality, and they can show you all the machines that it's compatible with, but it can also go on any of the current Grace machine and frames. So the machines don't need it because it has that stitch regulation, but any of the Cutie, the Q-Zone Hoop, the Q-Zone Queen, and the Continuum, you can connect that as long as your machine will go with that frame. And again, quality can give you sizing and everything like that. But if you have a current Grace frame, it'll work. Now, if you don't have a current Grace frame, again, we can find out if that's connections compatible with those encoders, because that's what it uses to go back and forth. Okay, was there any other questions that came in about the Sure Stitch Elite or, oh, we have one more, Mrs. K Scrap. She says, does it work with the Jazz 2? And
Yes.
we can tell you yes.
That one, we just know off the top of our head.
And the Jazz 2 wasn't available on the original Sure Stitch, but they got it ready for the Sure Stitch Elite. They got it working together. So that is compatible with that. Okay, so so much fun stuff so far. Okay, we want to do our giveaway. This is our second giveaway. This is the Quilters Combo. It's the True Cut system. So it's your track and guide. It's safer, easier, more accurate. It's going to come with that 45 millimeter comfort cutter, and that can be switched from the left to the right hand. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm a lefty and it doesn't work for me, there are instructions included. There's also, we have videos on our website of how to switch them back and forth. Comes with a 6.5 by 24.5 inch ruler, and then the True Grips, package of True Grips. So this is one of our pre-registration winners. We've got this randomly selected to win. So let's do a drum roll and see who our new winner is. Oh, Sharon, congratulations. We have your information, Sharon, so we will contact you via email to get your email or your address and your phone number so we can get that connected with you. So, one last question. Where can they find all this amazing deals to purchase?
Absolutely, yep. QualitySewing.com.
In the chat.
Website. You can live chat them on their website. You can email them at info@QualitySewing.com, or you can even give them a call at 800-687-5175.
Yeah, now so the Cutie is on special through the 16th. We have a special early October specials for Quality. So it is $589. That is an amazing discount. Usually it's $1,199.95. So it's over half off.
Yeah.
This, do not
deal.
miss out. You know, contact Quality today. So they've got the pre-pricing for October that only lasts through the 16th, but Quality has a special pricing for the next 2 days. And then the Sure Stitch Elite is not on a special. It is $899.95. Again, it goes with all the machines that it's compatible with. So once you get it, if you have multiple machines, or if you're trying to, purchase a new machine, you can go with any of the ones that are on the list, and you can find that at Quality's website. So next we have some of our very fun commercials that we've made about our products. Now these are quick snapshots about the products. We were going to show some things here, but we thought this is we're zooming in and out. So we're going to talk about, we're going to have our 19X Elite. Reva talked about this earlier. She got to test this out. Our True Cut travel kit.
That's my favorite one.
It's a fun commercial that I did with one of our other account executives, Jarek. It's an infomercial style. We're also going to talk about quilt clips, our finesse thread, and then our True electric sharpener. So we're going to go to those now.
Well, hello there, Jana and Jarek. Do you love using your True Cut cutting products? Great, well pack it all up, cause we're going on a trip. Looks like a lot of hassle, Jana.
How am I supposed to carry all of this?
Don't forget all your cutting mats. What is this? Where are all your cutting supplies, Jarek? And where did you get such a fashionable bag? Jarek? Oh shoot, where did all your pins go? Aw, how inconvenient. Now you get to play Find All the Needles Before Mark Steps on Them. Whoopsie daisy. Oh, Jarek, did you drop your pins too? Now you get to play Find All the... Wait a minute, there's that bag again. What kind of shenanigans are you up to? Aw, what's the matter, Jana? Do you wish the Grace Company would, I don't know, make a portable cutting kit in the form of a stylish carrying bag that not only has everything you need, but can also travel with you wherever you want? Oh wait, we totally did that. Introducing the True Cut Travel Kit, the stylish on-the-go cutting companion. The mini home cutting station you can use in your car, at your friend's house, at the park, in a public library probably, while you're waiting in line at the grocery store. Sure, pretty much anywhere you want to take it. Complete with true grips, ruler, pencils, seam ripper, magnetic wristband. Holy cow, that's a lot. Whoa, there's more? Does all that really fit in there? Go from this to this. Built to last and looking good doing it. Travel with the confidence of a true cutter with the new True Cut Travel Kit.
Hi everybody, it's Carla here. I'm going to introduce you today to our wonderful accessory, our Start Right quilt clips. They come in two sizes, our 2-inch for poles that are 2-inch in diameter or a little larger, and the 1.5-inch quilt clips, which are good for poles that are 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches. With quilt clips, you can float your fabric and it helps you with better tension on your quilt top. Now, floating your fabric is when you are not rolling your top and your batting onto a separate pole. And you're just going to float it. Here, you're just going to lay it across your backing and bring it down over and float it across your backing. When I put this quilt clip on, you'll see it pulls in and it just gives you a nice, smooth, even tension on it. And you'll just go across your quilt and clip them on all the way across it. Now in the packages you get 4 quilt clips. They're 24 inches long. So if you have a king size frame, 4 quilt clips will do it. Another nice feature about the quilt clips, it's easy for you to unclip them and adjust your fabric and make sure that it's nice and straight. And then just clamp it right back down on and it gives you that nice smooth quilting surface. We also have these nice little nifty mini quilt clips. They come in both sizes, which are really nice for your threads, to hold your threads from unraveling and getting tangled up and becoming a real mess. And also it helps you to manage your quilt. You can roll your quilt up and it makes it easier for you to manage while you're quilting. You can find the quilt clips at your local Grace dealer, on our website at graceframe.com, or call our 1-800 number and get them today.
Hi, I'm Nathan Erznosnik with the Grace Company, and I'm excited to be with you today. We're going to talk a little bit here about the finesse thread. Why is Grace Company dealing with threads, and how did we get into this? You know, a lot of our customers, they know us for frames, they know us for machines, and what we found is this consumer is moving from utilizing their domestic machine, and they're starting to do more than laps. They're doing mid-size quilts, kings, and those larger queens as well, that they're trying to define how much thread is really required in order to complete a project. And so they're going around and they're buying 3 spools, 2 spools, 5 spools. With that as well as they're maybe going out there and they're trying to decide, am I buying a lifetime supply of thread for this project? And then where am I buying the larger spools, or where and what are my color selections on variegated? So all of these things led us at Grace Company to decide, how do we solve this? And we came out with what we're calling the right size, or the perfect size thread. And this is our finesse thread, 1,500 yards. It's a 3-ply, what we call soft polyester, low lint, color fast, and we have 60 total colors with 20 solids and 40 variegateds. This thread allows that same customer, instead of buying several, not quite sure how much is going to work, or instead of overcommitting to something that's much larger, what we're finding is they can get the right size, one large project or a couple mid-size. Not only that, but it gives them a very similar feel to what cotton is. The pricing is a little bit more affordable for the yardage, and so we found that it's really fit several key categories that our customers have been looking for. So again, a perfect thread for your perfect quilts. Where to get this and a little bit more details, feel free just to visit us online or give our customer service agents a call, and we'd love to help you out.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed all those fun videos. I keep getting teased by my family every time they see that TrueCut travel kit, but that really is one of my favorite new products that we have. You can take everything with you. It was so much fun to film, but it's more fun to play around with that TrueCut travel kit.
And it's comfortable too. When I bring it back for lives and I have it around my shoulder, it's like, oh, this feels better than my purse does.
It has a hard case. I don't know if you saw that, but it has a hard case, so you can stick it, put some things on top of it, not a lot of heavy things, and it's great for putting additional tools in there when you're traveling around. I think it's my favorite new product.
I would say it's mine too.
Yeah. So was there anyone in particular, Reva, that you loved of those commercials, or anything that you wanted to talk about?
Well, I do like the travel kit because I like office supplies and back to school stuff. So I like everything in a little bag. But the sharpener is really pretty amazing too. Just the thought of that. And I think we're going to talk about that later, aren't we? A little bit?
Yeah. A little bit. Well, so like right now is when we're going to talk about it. So we did want to talk about the sharpener and how, I was like, did you know? Yeah. The fact that you can resharpen your tools. So, or all your blades. So really quick, put a 1 in the comments if you guys have blades that you've used in your rotary cutters and you just can't throw them away because you spent so much money on them, right? I know I've met people who showed me pictures. They have little baby food jars with machine oil in them because they're like, well, I don't want them to go corroded, but someday I'm going to find a way to sharpen these. And so with the electric sharpener, it will sharpen any blade that has the tri-wing design. So that's any of our blades. I think there's a couple other ones. If there's just a circle, it won't catch in that circle section. So we want to make sure that you're using that tri-wing design. So, Allegra, what is one of your favorite things about the electric sharpener?
I like that it's not battery operated. I really like that. I think nothing is more frustrating to me when I go to use something that I haven't used in a while, or maybe I use it very frequently and then the batteries are dead. Yeah. And then I don't have batteries in my house, and then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll steal them from the TV remote. Yeah.
And that's a nice thing that is plug in so that you have that power wherever you're going. It has 2 diamond grit stones on the top and the bottom, so that as you're sharpening, it'll sharpen both. Now, I was taught a trick that when you have your blade and you're putting it in, you want to mark the edges of the beveled part of your blade with a black marker, so that when you put it in and shut it for about 15 seconds or to 30 seconds, when you open it up, if those black marks are not gone, then you know you're just going to close it and do it for another 15 seconds. To see that it's really sharp or not. And I do that on both sides so that I can tell about that sharpening. So, wow, we had a lot of ones in the comments. Now, the other thing that we didn't talk about, we do have a linear sharpener as well that you can use, and that one is on the fly. So as you're sharpening it, you have the option to just, I'll bring it up here, it's a straight cutter. It has the diamond edge on the one side, so as you're sharpening, you do the one side and then you turn the sharpener around and run it through the other side. So you can do those on the fly. Now, if you have one of our comfort cutters or our rotary straight cutters, you can see if they have the guides on them for our track system, you want to remove that and put on the guide that's for regular rulers, so that you have enough space, because otherwise the blade can't come down into that sharpener and get sharp enough on it. So you want to be careful about that. So let's see here. We've got any other questions that came through?
I did have one question that I noticed while we were watching the quilt clip portion. And so Math Geek asked, do these clips work on the Q-Zone hoop frame?
Oh, great question. So yes, the quilt clips that Carla talked about, those are specific for rolling rails. The Q-Zone hoop frame and the Cutie have their own specific rails that have that ratchet edge on them, because they're a square rail, not a round rail. And so when you're putting it on, as you're putting the Cutie rail on and getting tight to that fabric, and then you kind of like tilt it either towards you, away from you, it'll keep that tension correct on the fabric. So it's not bouncing quarter tight, but taut. And if you're using those rolling rail frames, they won't work. Now, she did show the 2-inch quilt clips as well as the longer 24-inch. The 2-inch are great for like putting around thread or keeping your fabric together if you've got a sandwich, all those kinds of things. So you can use them when you're doing the Cutie, but they won't attach, or to the Q-Zone frame, they won't attach right to those rails. Okay, I think we're ready to do another Plinko giveaway.
I love Plinko giveaways.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a quick question on
Yes.
The last stuff that we just watched.
Yes, so we just had like our little commercial break and we had 5 commercials. So name any item from those that we saw during that break. Let us know in the chat and then we'll pick one of you for a Plinko drop.
Okay.
Or how many? 3?
Yeah, we'll pick 3
pick
people.
3
We'll
of
pick
you.
one from Facebook, one from YouTube, and then one from the Grace platform. So any of those 5 products, just throw it in the chat and we'll get you picked. Oh, we've got Susan Bearden. She said the sharpener. So congratulations, Susan. We'll get that picked for you here. And then let's see on the other one. Let's do that right now. I'll do the middle. I feel the middle section. Ooh, the 45mm straight cutter. Congratulations. Susan will get you that. And then let's see, I'll go back up. We'll randomly choose here on YouTube. Mary Ann Madsen, she said the sharpener. Congratulations, Mary Ann. Let's see, I'm feeling this one. The square ruler bundle set. Congratulations. And then we've got, let's see, we pick a Facebook. We'll randomly pick a Facebook. We've got Pat. Pat says the True Cut travel kit, correct. And we'll have Allie do that one.
The leaves are falling off.
It's fall, the leaves are falling off our design. Oh.
Thread!
Oh, great. So our 4-pack of finesse thread, we'll let you pick, Pat, whether you want the solid or the variegated. So again, for anybody that has won a prize, we want you to reach out to Melinda at graceframe.com and she will get that all set up for you. She will get the information for your address and your phone number and we can get those prizes sent out. So next we're going to be talking about our fall banner. We're going to do part 2. So stick with us and we're going to go to that right now.
Hello and welcome. My name is Janessa and I'm here with the Grace Company. Today we're finishing up the second class for our Cutting to Quilting
Susan Bearden.
Fall pumpkin banners. So last time we went through and we cut out our circles using the 360 circle cutter. We went through picking our patterns and today we're going to actually be quilting, tacking down our raw edge applique. We'll be using the couching foot and I'll talk you through how we're actually going to string it up and be able to enjoy our pumpkin banner. So let's go ahead and get started. So first we're going to take our circles and I'm going to place them in a way that I think makes it look a little bit more like a pumpkin. When they're straight across like this, it just looks like 3 circles to me. So instead, I kind of like to have them, like the center pumpkin just a little bit further down. So it kind of gives it a little bit more of that kind of pumpkin feel, I think. Okay, so we're going to be using, we're going to be using a circle template on this. So this particular circle template, I am a very new quilter and especially new to using templates and rulers. And I have really big hands. So I kind of struggle when the templates are really, really thin and there's not a lot of surface area for my hands to be. So I actually took 3 of these circle templates and taped them together all along the top to give my hands a little bit more area to hold on to. On the back, I have our true grips all along the outsides so that when I'm holding onto it, it won't just slip out of the way. It'll kind of grip onto that fabric and just give me a little bit more security as I'm using this circle template. Okay, so first, we're going to go ahead and place our circle template on the center circle first. That'll help tack down the 2 edges to start. So let's go ahead and start at the bottom. Similar to when we were doing the True Cut 360 circle cutter, we started at the bottom and worked our way around clockwise. I'm going to do a similar pattern with this one because it's the most comfortable for me. Other experts might have a different way to do it. As a beginner, this is just kind of how I've figured out to do it in the best way possible for me. So we'll go ahead and start here at the bottom, and I'm going to keep my left hand here over at the edge. I guess first I should go ahead and pull my bobbin thread up. That's always what we want to do when we're starting out a new pattern. Let's try that again. Okay, so I've got my two tails. I'm going to match those up, make sure that my circle is right where I want it. One thing to remember when we're using these circle templates, it's not like we're tracing it around with a circle. It's not going to fit right up along this edge because of where the needle is placed and where that ruler foot is. It comes off just a little bit. So that's why my circle template is a lot further in. It's not right along those edges. So we're going to start here and go along our sides. And it is not a race. If you need to pause for a second, to readjust your hands, that is totally fine. Take your time. I do recommend if you're going to take a longer pause, like right now I'm going to pause so just so I can readjust my hands a little bit, to make sure you stop your machine in the down position. It will kind of hold your place so that it's not going to move around and cause a little bump or anything like that when you start moving again. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my bobbin. And then go ahead and trim those threads out of our way. Okay, for our left side, we're going to place our circle pumpkin, and I'm going to follow kind of that similar pattern on this left one. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way around to the top again, because that's just the easiest way for me personally to kind of hold on to that circle template. So pull my bobbin. Okay, so we've got our bobbin pulled up, and it's a little awkward, to be completely honest with you, but you're going to kind of angle your body a little bit and have your hand placed on the sides. It's really important to not just have one kind of pressure point. You want to have it on at least two of these circle templates. If not, when you're pushing the ruler foot around, it can kind of slip over the top, even though it has that higher ridge. That can happen, so make sure you're pushing down on both sides and doing your very best to keep that ruler foot pressed up against that template. It will help you avoid those little edges that just aren't as pretty. And I'm going very slow, and that is totally okay. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and stop there, pull up my bobbin. All right, go ahead and trim your threads, maybe. Okay, and now we're going to go over to the other side. And so instead of starting at the bottom with this pumpkin, I'm actually going to start at the top because it's kind of that end rotation of that clockwise turn. So I'm going to start over here, pull my bobbin. Okay, I'm going to keep both of my left hand over here on the left side of that circle template and try and keep it as flat as possible and that pressure as even as I can. That's where it gets a little bit tricky. And I want to be able to readjust my hands a little bit just so that I'm not in the way and it just feels a little bit more comfortable with me. So I stop my machine briefly, and then we'll go ahead and keep following around. Okay, we'll stop there. Pull our bobbin. And then trim our threads. Okay, so we've got our 3 circles for our pumpkin tacked down. And now, just to give it a little bit more of kind of a pumpkin look, we're going to use another type of template. And this one is a kind of half circle. So instead of doing it so it matches the exact lines, I'm actually going to kind of tilt it a little bit. So it looks like all of these lines are kind of joining to this kind of center point where the stem will be. So on this one, I'm actually going to start at the top because that just feels more natural to me. There's no right or wrong way. It's just whatever works best for you. Oops. I am so good at pulling these bobbins. Okay, so we've got our 2 tails. Gonna place that template again. Make sure my hand is nice and even so it's not rocking. And then I'm gonna stop right when I get to that thread line from before. Pull my bobbin. Okay, and now we're going to go to our center. I'm going to start this one right kind of along that center point and have the top and the bottom as close as I can to those 2 center points. Pull my bobbin. Right. And stop right when I hit that bottom line. And then instead of pulling the bobbin up, I'm just going to move the ruler to the other side, line up my thread lines. There we go. And again, this one's a little bit awkward, so I'm trying to keep my hand kind of parallel and flat to that. And then stop when those points match up. Pull my bobbin. Not your bobbin. That's fun. And then trim your threads. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start over here on the left side. Make sure and pull our bobbin. Have our tails over here out of our way, and then line up with that kind of rounded edge. Just find those 2 points that you want to line it up with. And instead of pushing down like this where there's the potential for it to move around. Try as much as you can to kind of keep your hand flat on that template, but still out of the way. And then stop when you intersect that other thread line. Pull your bobbin. And if you wanted to go through and mark exactly where you wanted those points to line up, you could definitely do that. It would give it a more accurate and consistent feel. Again, nothing about these pumpkins I'm doing is super uniform. Again, they've got kind of those edges and things like that. It's a very scrappy kind of look and feel. If you wanted something a lot more consistent, you can go through and mark those things, measure things out exactly where you wanted them to be. I encourage that if that's the look that you're going for. And yeah, so again, just kind of make it your own and whatever your heart desires. I wanted to kind of walk you through some of the mistakes that I made on the pumpkins that I did before. Again, I'm really new to quilting and to ruler work especially, so I'm learning a lot and practicing a lot as I go. So if any of you experts are watching, please in the comments, give some other ideas and tips and tricks for people who are beginners and how they can improve their skills, maybe tips and tricks for how you like to hold it, would be super appreciated. So let me show you on this one up here. On this pumpkin up here, you can see I kind of have like a little bit of a blip. So I think when I was doing that particular pumpkin, the foot just got away from this template edge and it gave that little bump and I'm like, oh no. And so I pushed it right back up, but you can still see that little mark there. Another one is you can see here, the fabric is kind of bunching. That just kind of shows that I wasn't keeping it as nice and straight and flat as I was going around with that very first circle. So again, things that I'm learning as I'm going, and I'm going to continue to improve on and hopefully get better with those as I go. Okay, so the next step that we're going to do is putting on our stem. So I'm going to really quickly swap out our fabric to the green, or switch out our thread to the green thread, so it's not too much of a contrast on that green fabric. So give me just a moment while I get that swapped out. Okay, so the next part is adding our stem to the top of our pumpkin. So remember when we cut these, we cut two pieces along the fold. So I've got that nice little loop there, and I'm just going to place it on the top of my pumpkin. If you wanted to place it beforehand, you could also have it kind of underneath your circle. Again, it's just whatever look you prefer. It's totally up to you. Okay, so I'm going to start over here, and I'm only going to sew along this bottom inch square and leave this top loop so that after I cut it out, I'm able to string through the stem for my actual banner. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. Pull my bobbin. So I've pulled my bobbin, I've got my two tails over here kind of out of the way. Make sure that my fabric is nice and lined up. And just sew along those edges. If I wanted to go through and also add kind of like some stippling through here, I could do that. Any other designs that you feel really comfortable with? This is just going to kind of give it that extra kind of security. And this would be significantly easier if I had on the stippling foot, the micro stippling foot. Okay, go ahead and stop there, pull my bobbin. We're going to pretend like that worked beautifully. Cut my threads. And now for my favorite part, we're going to put on the couching foot and add those vines, which is really going to make it pop and give it that really fun kind of three-dimensional aspect. So give me just a moment while I get that couching foot put on. Okay, so now we get to do one of my favorite parts, which is using the couching foot to attach our vines. So the couching foot is really cool because it has this ability to string the yarn through, and the needle and thread will kind of tack down that yarn in whatever design you come up with. So I'm going to start over here, and I want it to be in a continuous line. So I'm going to kind of loop around, come up here, and follow my way back down. I do have a little tail here that I'll just cut off at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. And you'll just keep following along. And just keep doing that until it creates that design that you're hoping for. All right, so I'm gonna take some time to finish this up, cut it out and string it so that you can see the finished product and what that will look like when it's completed. All right, so I have finished the quilting on our pumpkin banner, and I just wanted to walk you through some of the final little steps. I made some adjustments as I kind of cut it out and show you our final product. So, when I went through after I'd taken the quilt top and quilt sandwich off of the frame, I used our rotary cutter and actually cut around each of these little circles in our pumpkin. And then I took some scissors and cut little like 1/4 inch little slits, being really careful not to hit into the stitches. And then I took my scissors, and when it was on a table, a little tough to show now, I just rubbed up against it to kind of give it that nice frayed little scarecrow look that we were kind of going for with this fall pumpkin banner. So yeah, those are all the steps to create this fall pumpkin banner on your own. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow our Instagram and visit our website at graceframe.com or contact your local dealer. I'm Janessa, and thank you for joining us at the Grace Company.
Welcome everybody. We are so excited to be with you today. My name is Mark.
And I'm Laurel.
And today we have an exciting product in our Cutie line. When they told us we were going to be talking about this new machine, you and I both were like, we're on it, because we wanted to be the first to discuss this revolutionary new Cutie 21X Elite.
Woo!
Yes. Now in our Cutie line, for those who been part of Grace for a long time or just now watching for the first time, we have our Cutie 15 series, we have our Cutie 19, and we have our 21 series. And in our 15 and on our 21 and 19, we have our Pro machines. We have our 15 Pro, we have our 19 Pro, and we have a 21 Pro. Today, we have our new revolutionary Cutie 21X Elite, and we are both excited to talk about the features of the machine, what this machine can do, and why it's industry changing, and we're so excited.
Yeah, you know, and Mark, it really is, you just said it is an industry changing machine, and that is absolutely correct. We're going to go over, like Mark said, the machine and some of the features that it has, but there is absolutely nothing else in the industry like this machine. It is an absolute stand on its own top end machine that is going to absolutely change your quilting experience. And actually, one thing that we've done is actually change the out of the box experience with this machine. And kind of with that is we actually helped make it so when you're first originally taking this machine out of the box, you simply can pull it out, and we have it set up where you're able to actually set this machine directly on the wheels. So you can just, pick it up,
set it on there, and then screw the wheels on. A much easier process. You don't have to hold the weight of the machine. You now can let the styrofoam hold all that weight for you.
That's right. You're going to see right out of the box, right out of the gate, that experience that you're going to have is just going to transition all the way to when you're quilting. And we'll talk about some of the features when you quilt, but yeah, that out of the box experience is going to be awesome.
It's a wonderful feature.
I know when I take out just even our 15-inch machine, if you already taken out a 15-inch machine and you're getting it out of the foam, it could be a little bit challenging. So the 21 is really, really nice in that feature.
Yeah, and one thing that's actually really neat, part of that out-of-box experience, is actually some of the instructions that we have for you guys. We actually have it now where we're going to have some automated instructions that'll help just give you a little bit more of some visual aid on how to assemble this machine, which is huge. Instead of having to go flip through the instructions, which you'll still have, you can actually again kind of see and have someone walk you through that process, which is going to be awesome for you guys that are a little bit better, with visual aids.
That's right. So we're going to dive into all the features. This is such a quiet machine, easy machine, very user-friendly, from the screen to the handlebars. Just everything about this machine you're going to love. I know from the past shows, we've done shows, and I've used all of our machines. This is the best machine that we have.
Absolutely.
And if you've been looking at a long arm machine and you've been wanting maybe to upgrade your own machines, start with the 21X Elite. You can't go wrong. You're going to be happy, and it's going to be just awesome companion in your quilting room.
Yeah, and one thing that I think is really revolutionary about this machine is actually the user interface. And this is actually kind of interesting. When me and Mark were first kind of getting told about this machine, we jumped on it like, oh, we got to introduce it, right? We're actually being told a little bit about that user interface and how actually we had one of our engineers who went to a show with us and actually walked around just, test the different machines, get a feel for them. And one thing that they had found is that they actually didn't know how to start the machine or even use it without having to ask someone.
Which is crazy. You're looking at a screen and how do I start this? That is crazy.
Yeah, and so with that, we've made it so that anybody, and I mean literally anybody, can walk up and know how to start and really use this machine to its fullest potential, which is crazy, right? You would think, yeah, I should be able to know how to use a machine, but you don't. This time, again, anyone can walk up and use it, and it's absolutely wonderful.
That's right. We're going to look at 3 patented features that we have on this machine that no other machine has. Okay?
Yes.
One of them is the edge warning. What is the edge warning?
So that's a great question. So I think when you're quilting, you kind of just get caught up in the moment. You're really enjoying yourself. You're really into design. And so when that happens, sometimes you'll have the machine pulled too far forward, or you have a little bit too much to the back, side to side there. But with this, it actually has really kind of cool 2 features, I'd say, specifically within this edge warning. One of them is it actually has a sound warning. So it'll let you know, it'll beep at you, say, hey, careful, you're coming up on the edge there. And then another one that actually is super neat is it has actually a light that can flash at you as well. Again, just to kind of notify you and say, hey, careful, you're coming up on the edge. That way your designs, can stay beautiful and even, and you're not going to, run into the edge and potentially mess up that design.
That is just mind-blowing, because we've all been there. We've all pulled the machine up and we hit the throat. We've all went to the left. We've all been to the right, and we get caught up doing our just natural quilting that we forget maybe where we're at. Especially as a new beginner, you can get caught up that way. You know what? I want to talk more, but I want to see this edge. Can we see this edge warning in action? I want to see this edge warning, and I love that it has the color light to it. Now the sound is loud. But for those who would like to see the light, it will actually, that red light will pop up so you know where you're at on your quilt, which is, again, phenomenal. And let's go ahead and get this started. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to have Laurel go ahead and...
So one thing I actually want to show you really quickly is how you can actually simply go in and set that edge warning. So it's a very easy feature. You're going to just simply come into your toolbox, and it's labeled for you, edge warning. One thing that's great about the edge warning is you actually can choose to do a 1/2 inch or even a full inch from that edge, just to kind of give yourself what feels comfortable for you when using it. So this one, I'm going to do a 1/2 inch, which I just have selected here. If you wanted to change it, you could very easily go in and set it. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the top left, and I'm just going to use this right here. I'm going to move to the bottom right. And again, this is something that'll change just according to whatever space you're working with. And then now you can see it is set there. So then to go back out. And you can also see and tell that it is in place with this side of the screen here. It actually shows you that symbol again that you had when you first went to that toolbox to just let you know that that edge warning is on. And so then let me show you kind of what Mark had talked about really is the sound as well as the lights, which is a huge, huge thing with this edge warning.
I'm so excited to hear this, by the way.
Yeah.
We use it. I just get excited, and I can't wait to see this even again right now.
Yes. So just get it going here. So then you can see it there. So again, if I'm just kind of quilting here, as I come to that edge, it'll beep at me. And so one thing I do want to show, even maybe if we can, we'll take a little bit closer look here at it, is actually the light that comes up, because sometimes, as you're going, even though, yes, you hear, you might be a little bit in the zone, you're not really fully paying attention. So with that, we've added that light feature that will really highlight. So again, if you're really focused in on a design, you can still be warned and notified of that. So I'm just going to show really quick.
And one thing, it was beeping. When we set that, it goes all over, even from when you go from the top. So you have up here on the top and on the bottom, which is nice.
Yes, exactly. And so this is just where, again, I kind of want to show you what that light actually looks like when you're quilting here. So you can see, just normal. Then as I come to that edge, that light kicks on. So Mark, tell me, what do you think about it?
I love it. Laurel, it's one of those, I don't want to say subtle features, because it's not. It is leading industry change with what we did. This machine comes equipped with everything you need. That edge warning is going to really save your bacon as you're quilting, because if you're like me and you come up, I couldn't tell you how many designs I had to unpick because you end up cutting it off based off of where you're at to the left, where you're at to the right, and in the front. So that edge warning, I love it. So now we got two other features that we're going to talk about that are patented as well. What are those?
So one of them actually, it helps with the vibration of it. And so now all machines, when you're moving them, because you are moving them, have some slight vibration to them. But with this, it's actually really neat. When we were talking with the engineers, again, just when we were first learning about this machine, they talked about, all the testing they put it through to really make this the absolute top end of the industry. And one of those tests they did was specifically that vibration. And so when you do it, it just flows and rides very easily. So you really don't feel like there's any vibration coming from the machine. So it is that smooth movement, which again can help bring your focus back into the beautiful art that you're creating.
That's right. And we all love that. And last but not least on the patented feature is the directional hopping foot. Now this is awesome. We have quilters who like to have the hopping foot maybe in front, maybe to the side. It doesn't matter. You can actually set your hopping foot wherever you want, from the side of it, from the left to the right. And that just kind of gives you the feel. If you're comfortable with what machine you had before and it was on the side, you can actually move the hopping foot to that side. So we wanted to keep that comfort level with you. If that's what you like, that's what you can do, which is really awesome.
It is, yeah. And I think this is just, Mark had touched on a little bit there, but just really the comfort or familiarity of what you may have had previously is brought into this machine. So again, anyone can easily walk up to it and use this machine and feel very comfortable with it.
That's right. Now there's a lot to talk about with this 21X Elite. So many things. We talked about the 3 wonderful features. There are a lot of other features that we want to get into. One, we have a 7-inch touchscreen that you've already went through and talked about some of the stuff, but there are also other features on the screen that you can access that no other machine you can with. So let's talk about what you can access with this 7-inch touchscreen.
Yeah, so I'm going to just I want to show you guys again what Mark was talking about there is really part of this user interface that is so unique. with this machine here. So really, again, very simple, very easy to understand for anyone walking up to the machine curious to take a look at it. So one of those is actually what we accessed earlier, which is your toolbox. And within your toolbox, there's actually some really cool features that are just very helpful to have. One of them is a measuring tool. And one thing we've made actually adjustment to is that measuring tool will update with you live. So as you're moving your machine across, you will actually see that measurement kind of again move with you as you move the machine. We have an awesome calculator. And then one thing that's also super neat is actually this bobbin estimator. Now I do want to go into this and show you a little bit more because it actually has an opportunity for you to have a memory in this and save a bobbin.
Oh, say that again, because that's pretty awesome.
Yes.
Say that again.
You have a way to save memory and save again the bobbin, whether it's the type of thread you're using, how many yards is on it. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
You're in cotton and it's 40 weight, you can put it in there. You're using polyester 50 weight, you can put it in there. That's pretty cool. I love that feature.
Yeah, which again is awesome because this has that bobbin estimator. And so according to whatever, again, that weight, the yardage that you have, it can adjust it to let you know correctly when it's time to change it, which is huge. And then you also in here, you can actually change the name of that bobbin. So you can label it as anything you'd like. Then I just kind of want to go back into that toolbox just again, show you a little bit more. So there's that edge warning feature, which again, you can go in and adjust. Then there's also a project, which is just kind of a cool feature to show you again, where you can set how many hours, stitches, and all of that, just to kind of see, if you're curious on how long it's taking you to do that project.
Other nice features we have with the screen are the other resources we have. We built in and integrated help files within the screen.
Yeah, and then let me actually show you and kind of walk you through some of those. So very easy. Again, part of this user interface is that anyone can walk up and use it. So you simply come up here and very easy again within the help files. And even within this, we have some additional points that you can select. So if you want to look at threading your machine, how to know what needle to choose, again, winding the bobbin, all of that can always be found on here. And one thing that I love as well is that there actually is pictures that will take you through so you know exactly what part of the machine you're talking about and how to access it. So for this one, if you're to look there, again, it's just going to kind of zoom in and show you even just more features of that. And really, like Mark said, now to have all that literally at your fingertips is incredible. It's incredible. There is nothing else like that in this industry. It is absolutely unique to what this machine is.
I love that. I don't know how many of you have done this, but you get a manual with your machine and you set it aside, right? And you want to find out again how to oil it or what do I need to do to maintain it. Now we have built that within the screen. So if you did misplace your instructions, don't worry because it's right and integrated with our screen.
Yes, and one thing that's nice as well, as you can see, is there really are other options in here, or help files that can be found. One of those is some maintenance and then troubleshooting. So if something ever were to happen, or if you're looking at especially stitching, so the tension, there's some help in here to give you just, again, a really good starting point so you feel comfortable in taking charge of your project and what you're working on.
So many features about this machine. We only tapped into a few of them. Just like the rest of our Quilting line, we have overspeed settings that you can turn on and off your overspeed. You have your lights, you have other features within this within the machines. This one with the lights, you can actually move the lights with a slider. So if you want the lights more dim or brighter, you can just actually slide it with on the screen, which is really nice. And so the needle lights are really, really nice. But you can actually make them brighter or more dim if you like.
Yeah, and then let me actually show you how easy that is to do. So all you're going to do is you come in here, go into settings, and as you can see, it is right there, very easy for you to see, and you can easily adjust it again to what's going to fit you best. Sometimes if you're doing it at night, maybe you don't want it quite as bright so it doesn't hurt your eyes. And really just, again, you can see very easy to understand the screen and know exactly what you're looking at.
So Laurel, those are all awesome, fantastic features. One of the other features we have are built-in buttons with labeling so you know what button to push and to get you started. Because I know with our pass, if you're looking at it and like, what button do I push? The 21X Elite shows you what button to push.
Yeah, I think this just kind of comes back to that very user-friendly, anyone can walk up and use it. And so it really is an absolute simplified version. And not only that, we do actually have some printing on here so you can know exactly what those controls do. So there's a needle up, needle down,
start and stop the machine. And this is simply to adjust, you know, your stitch speed or length. So really very easy. Anyone can come up and feel comfortable and ready and excited to use the machine.
The buttons with the other machines used to navigate through the screen, even with the touchscreen. This one, you use a touchscreen to navigate through our different modes. From precise, we have cruise, base, and manual. The machine is very quiet. I love listening to the machine. It is super quiet, really nice. And I just almost want to hear it again quilting before we get into some other features. If let's go ahead. I know you want to see it. I know you want to see it quilting, so let's go ahead and just quilt a little more, because I know you want to do some quilting.
Yeah, I do. Any chance I can to use this new machine, I'm gonna take it. So yeah, super easy. And this is just kind of to Mark's point, it really is absolutely a very quiet machine. So I'm gonna show you that here.
And it's such a beautiful stitch.
Yes.
I could just listen to that.
I know, I just want to keep going.
So nice. I love it, Laurel. I love the pattern that you're doing. That must be like a new pattern. It's fantastic.
It's something new I'm coming out with.
Yeah.
Sneak peek, you know. One additional feature that this machine has actually is it actually has a magnifying glass on it, and this is called the Magnifique. And this is a very unique feature because not only can it be used on the machine, but it also comes with some pieces that you can use it in your hand. So if you wanted to go back, you know, take a look at your stitches or anything, or your beautiful artwork, you can absolutely do that. And so this is just to help those, again, if you're looking to thread your needle, it's wonderful to use because it just allows you to easily see the eye of the needle to make sure it can go through there for you.
Laurel, that is such a great feature to have, and that comes with the machine, to get the close-up on the needle threading, to take off and go along and see if you miss anything else. So what a wonderful addition to add to the 21X Elite. So pumped to have this out. Again, industry changing, features that you cannot find in any other machine, from the edge warning to the handles to the directional hopping foot, plus all the other wonderful features that we have, from the touchscreen, the ability to have the resources built into the touchscreen. There's so many awesome things about this 21X Elite, and I am really excited to have this on the market. We've been talking about this machine, and now it's here. It's finally here for you to upgrade from your 15 machine. Maybe you have a 21R or 21 Pro you want to upgrade. This is a beautiful machine to do so. Has a built-in bobbin winder, just like the other machines that work without having the machine on. Right? It's separate motor, so that's fantastic.
There is absolutely no other machine in the industry that is like this machine. It is uncomparable. There are so many things, like Mark had mentioned, that set it apart from other machines, that it is its absolute own beautiful standalone machine that is easy to use, comfortable, quiet, is going to fit everything you want to do. So honestly, I'm just always astounded, because it really is like, wow. Why haven't we come out with this before, right? Why hasn't this been part of the industry? And so now it's just like, yes, it's about time, right? Like, I'm so excited to use it. And I wasn't kidding her there. Anytime I can and get to use it, I absolutely want to. And so it is an absolutely wonderful machine that anyone can use, and absolutely, I know, will enjoy and love using it.
It is so fun to see this in action. You know, we've been hearing about it, and now it's here, like you'd mentioned. It is here. It is here to stay. If you're looking at getting a 21-inch machine, get the 21X Elite. It is the best, fastest, quietest, with built-in features that you can't find anywhere else. So consider getting the 21X Elite. If you want to upgrade from your 21 series, now's the time to do so. If you have the 15, again, you can upgrade to the 21X Elite series. I love everything about this machine. It is so beautiful, very easy to use, and I just want everybody to have one in your home because we love using it ourselves.
Yes, get it, because it really is absolutely going to just make your quilting journey much more enjoyable and easier for you. And I just know if you get it, you're going to love it, because I love it, Mark loves it, we all love it, everyone, even our engineers, all the thought and time they've put into it really is amazing to see. And we did this for you guys. We are part of, and we actually are leading in this industry, and this machine is proof of that. So thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we're so excited to see you next time.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. We're so excited to have you here. I hope you really enjoyed watching those videos. The finished product of that fall pumpkin banner, it was so adorable.
It's so cute. It makes me want to make my own.
I know. Now, for anybody that asked about that pattern, it is live on the website now. So if you go under the schedule section, you can get access to that free pattern for that fall pumpkin banner that used so many different pieces, and so you can watch it and quilt along. And then also the 21X Elite series. So that was so fantastic to see. The whole system, the X Elite series, we've got the 19 now that we saw the quick clip about, and now the 21, they're all set to go. So we've had just a couple of questions as we were watching the videos. One question was about screen glare. Chris says, are there any screen glare features for the 21X? I see that you can adjust the screen brightness, but I have issues with screens forming a glare in sunlight. Now, there is no screen glare specific. The screen is adjustable, so if you're angling it the way that you need to, so you don't see that any glare on there. And it is a nice matte finish. It's not a shiny screen, so it shouldn't reflect a lot of light anyway, but you should be able to change it that way. Another question someone asked was, what frame does the 21X Elite come on or use? And that is the Continuum 2 frame. So the 21X Elite only fits on the Continuum 2. The 19 fits on every other frame, the Cutie, the Q-Zone Hoop, the Queen, and the Continuum. But the 21X Elite, because of that larger throat space, it only fits on the Continuum 2 frame. So thank you, everyone. We are really kind of over time. We are so happy for everyone who has joined us for these last couple of hours. We've had so much fun being here with Quality. Reaver, is there anything else you want to talk about? We have a couple of things to talk about, but was there anything on those two videos that you had?
Oh, they're just so inspiring. And I love the pumpkins, but I think I need to make one too, Allegra. So we'll have to race each other to the sewing room and do that.
That can be our
Thank you guys so
event.
much. I know we
Reba
have
and
some more
Allegra.
things that you want to do, but I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining us and for Allegra and Jana hosting this, because it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we'll do another one of these again, so watch for your emails from Quality. We'll have another live event coming up in the next couple of months. But we wanted to remind everybody about the amazing pricing going on for the sales for this sneak of October sales. So that's the Cutie at $5.89, TrueCut at 20% off. To get those amazing deals, you can go to the website and chat into the customer service team. For any questions, you can email Quality at info@qualitysewing.com or call them at 800-687-5175. And you don't just have to be in the state of Washington to have the amazing customer service that Quality gives. For that, that's one of our favorite things here at the Grace Companies. We really try and strive for amazing customer service, and we love partnering with amazing dealers like Quality who also do amazing customer service. They're fantastic. Reach out to them, they'll be able to help you out. So we just want to remind you, for any how-tos, you can contact them. But if you do have a Grace product and you have questions about technical support, you can also contact the Grace Company and we'll be able to help you with those. If you would just joined us and you missed some of the amazing things, or you wanted to rewatch any of the amazing education pieces or product demonstrations, you can just come back to this website on the Grace Company platform page and watch them again. And again, that pattern for the pumpkin banner will be there free. And then finally, before we leave for the day, we've got our final giveaway. It's our grand prize of the Cutie tabletop frame. Quilts any size frame, can quilt up to a 19-inch throat, so probably about 7 to 9 inches up to 19 inches. It comes with the bungee clips and the 8-pack of finesse thread. That's 4 solid and 4 variegated. So our final random winner, let's do our final drum roll.
Fran Hunt. Congratulations, you are the winner of the grand prize Cutie bundle.
Fran, I'm so excited for you. Again, for everybody that has won prizes, if you won a pre-registration prize, we will reach out to you. But for all those who won Plinko prizes, please contact Melinda@graceframe.com and she will get you that prize information. So again, thank you, Riva, so much for joining, and all our friends and family here from Grace Company and Quality Sewing and Vacuum. We had just the best time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.